She likes the way I put it. Yeah. She likes the tab for the bad little bitches in the city and it's all on me. Time no time when the love so blind that you're all I can see. Know the night won't be the same if you don't leave with me. Ass up, head down, they tie your dress down, no I like it. 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 Good ass girl in the badass city, got the itty bitty titty, but the ass come with it. Got you hoping that a flash come with it. Looking single in the club, but you hoping that a man don't get it. And she pulling up late night, no tease, play fight, big jaw, gray white, fuck to the daylight, put her to sleep, cause I don't need no Xan. If she fucking with me, then she gon' need both hands, yeah. Big penthouse, spend another 10,000, I getting ripped out.
We here. What's up, everybody? What is going on? Got Big Mike in the building. All right, we're keeping it simple tonight. All right, so we're going to talk about it. Come on, Mike, let's talk about it. We were supposed to have a collab show. It's not happening. We tried to do this 2 weeks in a row. We had the Black Room that we were supposed to talk to Jim Harmon. That didn't happen. I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. I can't hear you, Mike. I can't hear you. Can you hear me? Nah, I can't hear you. Say something. All right, go ahead. I don't know what he said, but I think he said he's going to switch it up. All right, look. It happens, man. People, we talk about it all the time. Like, people are who they are. Yeah, I think honestly it happens at every level. I'm pretty sure that in the NFL, there's a reason why the Houston Texans have been such a bad team for so long. It's
Can you hear me?
Yeah. I was saying, man, people are people, and like there's probably a reason why teams like the Texans and the Browns struggle. Meanwhile, teams like the Eagles and Patriots and other organizations like the Steelers and the Packers, they always have winning seasons because, people are people and successful people do successful things and other people do other things. You know what I'm saying? So, right now there's a lot of division in semi-pro. We talk about it all the time. There's a lot of teams. There's a lot of leagues. It's because everybody has their ego and everybody wants to do things their own way. And sorry, Mike, got you out of there. But that's all I'm really gonna say. I got lots of love for Kev and East Coast Locker Room Live. If we ever do collab, that'll be awesome. I think it'll be super fun.
I think we will. I mean, I Kev's one of my boys.
Yeah.
The Jim Harmon thing, I kind of saw that kind of coming, honestly.
I had some questions lined up for him too.
I think that's why I like having. But with Kev, I think being that it's week one and his platform's a little different than ours, he probably assumed that it probably would be better for this at least this week to just kind of have that platform be its platform.
I get it, man. Like he said, he's trying to do a lot of things to up his product and to do things really good on his side. I thought it would be great for the two sides week one to come to talk. Like, I'm still a player. You know what I'm saying? You retired from a different perspective. Kev is an outsider looking in. And Kenny is another guy that's retired, but Kenny is different from you because he's been a part of this for a long time. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I thought the 4 different perspectives would have been great. Obviously, with the system that we use, we could have 30 people on the show if we wanted to. We don't just have that. free food. You know what I'm saying? So I thought it would have been cool, but people got their own things that they trying to do, and whether it's for the betterment of the good or the betterment of themselves, it is what it is. I mean, we just gonna continue on. We're gonna press on. So
yeah, and I think like I said, eventually I think with Kevin we'll have some. I don't think we'll ever get Harmon. I think
I've had Harmon on the show before. That's why I'm upset about it. But I'm not gonna stick on that for too long. At the end of the day, when I went down on the Three Bleezy show, what I'm saying, it was the same thing. Like I put out the rankings, all this stuff I really do for the betterment of the culture. Like honestly, it's not because like I feel so highly about myself, but I got a lot going on in my life, and so does Mike, and so does everybody else. So for us to come out of our time, to do things like this.
I ain't man, this lighting right here is making me look jacked as fuck. I'm about to.
Right? That's why I said, man, I need you in the light. All right. Anyway, let's get to the show, dude. Let's get to the show. Listen, weekend recap, upcoming games. The recap is crazy. So, TFL, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bangers played the Ducks. Bangers beat the Ducks. I'm not gonna say they smoked them, but they beat them pretty good. I forgot what the score was, but here's the long story short. A lot of the Bangers, Mount Vernon Bangers players, are also Brooklyn Seminoles players. Apparently, some guys were on that field that they didn't feel qualified to be on the field. The score was not updated, but I think it was something like 24 or 20 something, or like 12, 20-6, something like that. But basically, there was a couple players called into question, one in particular whose name kept ringing, and the Ducks head coach said, listen, before the playoffs even start, I know this guy, and this guy didn't make his games. One of those guys showed up for the game. So after he put a grievance in, he said they should forfeit. It's been a huge story. Everybody's been talking about it. I don't know, man. In my opinion, like,
how do you feel about it?
I knew this was coming.
No, I know you did, but I'm just saying, how do you feel about them?
I feel like if the Bangers were to forfeit and it was the Ducks versus the Eagles, that's the worst case scenario because the Eagles are going to handle the Ducks. They're a good team. They just not on that level this year. I feel like with the Bangers, like y'all broke the rules, bro, and y'all knew y'all broke the rules. You know what I'm saying? But if the rules is not being enforced properly, if there's not video footage of each player checking in before every single game, how can you enforce that? I mean, they have their own historic ways of enforcing it, but it's so sloppy, and I think ultimately people are calling into question whether the TFL is a good league now. I hate that. Like one little thing goes wrong and it's like the whole league is crap. The whole league just throw it in the garbage. So my feeling on it is, man, the league was sloppy the whole year. Like at the end of the day, the two best teams are playing each other. So let bygones be bygones and try to fix it and move on. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I think if as a coach, and I'm not calling anybody out on the situation.
Hold on, I got you.
I'm not calling anybody out on the situation because I don't know anybody. But my thing is, you called that would happen, so I'm assuming other people in the world thought the same thing, and they should have been a little bit more of a preventiveness to it. And then you played the game fully, so you might as well just deal with your loss.
Yeah, and I get it. Like for next year, let's not deal with this. What's up, Devontae? Let's not deal with this problem next year. Let's get the rules right for this year. I'm gonna grieve it. I'm gonna let people know. Like I think Ron even said that. He was like, I'm not trying to get my team in the championship game. I'm just trying to make sure this doesn't happen again. So
I mean, it's gonna happen again. I mean, how many leagues do you play in and how often does this happen?
I've played in like 4 or 5 leagues where this has happened.
Exactly.
So
one of those things. This is a universe.
We had this situation last year, right? With what did we call him? With Ramsey,
Mr. What was it? Christian Ramsey?
No, what was his name? His nickname.
What was
It
his
was
name?
something ridiculous. It was something ridiculous. But we had the same situation. I think they hit the nail on the head though. It was a big argument back and forth for what's the problem. If you get rid of double duty, will it fix this issue of eligibility? I think I made a point. I said like at every other level of the game, from like Pop Warner all the way up to NFL, you don't have an eligibility rule because you don't need one because there's no double duty.
Right.
If a guy misses 12 games because he's injured, the rule in the NCAA is we can give him an extra year of eligibility, not oh he's not eligible to play this year. Like they'll still let him play if he can get back on the field for like 1 week, they'll let him suit up
Yeah.
and still try to give him another year eligibility.
Also, you don't see dudes going, "Hey man, I play for Ohio State, but at 7 o'clock I play for Ohio."
Right. or I play for, Millersville
Yeah,
College,
yeah, yeah.
somewhere in West Bubble, Ohio. Like
I play, exactly.
all
You
right,
know,
so moving on from the TFL debacle, the Den played 2 games. Um, I know the Owls won,
hmm
so that game was the Unit versus the Owls. They played 6 o'clock in Camden. Owls dismantled them 25-7. And then at 2 o'clock, the Jackals played the Herd. I saw some highlights from that game. The Herd defense just didn't show up. So we was talking about, whether or not the
we knew
Herd
it.
is a good team. And I said the Herd's defense is probably the best asset. They was getting smoked the whole game.
Mhm.
90-yard bombs. Dude just running past them. And double coverage. Just
I can't remember who I picked.
I could find it.
Think,
Who
think
did
I,
you pick? You picked the
I picked.
Jackals over the Herd, 22-18. So you won. You
All right.
finally got one. I picked the Herd. I said 18-6. You said 22-18. And what was the final score? 26-2?
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Wasn't really competitive. Yeah.
I like that. He
I
said,
don't
I missed the comment, but someone said Knowles is taking it. And it,
Kevin Card said that. I mean, to be honest, like the hitmen are in rhythm. So I guess that's the recap. So we know how we got to where we are, right? So now we could talk about it. This weekend coming up, the Eagles, Bengals, and the TFL championship. This is gonna be a hot game, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. With all that's going on with the Bengals roster, right? They're
Mhm.
saying that the Bengals is bringing the whole Seminoles team because the Bengals are supposed to play the Jackals.
Okay.
The last time the Noles played the Jackals, sorry, not the Bengals. The Noles are supposed to play the Jackals. The last time the Noles played the Jackals, it was disgusting. Let me see if I can find that score. It was bad.
Like Jackals. Is this before they changed their name?
No, this is this year. They played the Jackals. It was 30-6. I think it was 24-6 at half.
hmm
And they put like basically they second string in, and 30-6 was the final score. So I think this is another week where the Noles show up light, and a lot of those guys go to that championship game. It might be an opportunity for the Jackals. You
Hey,
know, it might be an opportunity for the Jackals. You know what I'm saying?
Paul, on what players play against them?
Say it again, Mike.
I said it is not the player's fault on who comes to play against them.
It's not. It's not.
Hey, give me 1 second. I gotta run upstairs for a second.
Baby,
Wait,
go ahead.
right back.
Yeah.
Right back.
Big Mike is on babysitting duty, so we'll get him back. But look, if the Knowles players don't come, I personally said, in my opinion, that even with the team that they have, yeah, that's what I'm saying, Kevin. Like with the team that they have, even with their backups, that team is dangerous, man. Even with their backups. So if the Jackals really want it bad and they willing to go out and really try to get it, this is the time. That the time is now to try to upset the Nose. It would be crazy. It would be historic. I mean, people would be going crazy for you if you was able to do it, because the time is now. Because after this TFL chip, they coming back full strength. Some of these guys are gonna be high off a championship. So now is the time. The Eagles, I mean, they probably gonna get that DPOY player from the Nose. You know what I'm saying? He probably gonna be there. You know, the rumblings from what I'm hearing is that he hasn't confirmed or denied whether or not he'll be at that game. It's not confirmed or denied whether they'll let him play. Eligibility, the commissioner, from what it sounds like, is basically saying, if you tell me that he's been there, all right, he's been there. So that's gonna be like, this TFL championship game is gonna be crazy, because it could be the best roster possible playing each other, and that would be a hell of a game. That would be a hell of a game. Or it could be the Bengals are super loaded and the Eagles come like they came all season, 7-0, 6-0 against the Green Wave, and we could get the upset of the last 3 years. You know what I'm saying? It could go either way. So that's a big game. Definitely tune into that. That game is Saturday, 6 p.m. Facina Park in New Rochelle. I don't know if it's live stream, but 9 times out of 10, Spin Move is going to have that live stream on Facebook. So definitely check that out. And then in the den, it is what it is. We got the Owls and the Hitmen. They playing in Millersville. There was a lot of, well, they're not playing in Millersville. I'm sorry. They're playing in Newville. And it's apparently it's a trip. It's a troop. Like, nobody wanted to do it. It was a whole big thing. But the game is happening. So if you in that area, if you live in PA, go ahead and get out there. But if not, good luck. I'm hearing it's like a 4.5-hour ride or something like that. Crazy. But listen, Hitman, I think it was 3 weeks ago, beat the Owls 22-20. It was a hell of a game. They went back and forth all day long. I don't expect nothing less from this one. The Owls was that close to an upset. I call them the OVO upset boys. I've been saying it all year. Don't sleep on them. Same thing, we talked about the Nose Jackals. The Nose is going to take care of business, and unless the Jackals really want it that bad. So this is the step to the championship. This is when it counts the most. All these guys been talking crap all year. It's put up or shut up time. You know what I'm saying? So we are gonna see. All right, so we're gonna chop it up a little bit. It's the ECFL season kickoff. While Mike is away doing his daddy duties, I guess I'll take over. I got a big game tomorrow. You see my militia shirt? Militia playing the Mustangs tomorrow. We got a lot of good games, man. When you look at just what's happening, right? Like, you got the best team in the ECFL playing the second best team in the ECFL based off of what happened last year, week 1. Like, that's crazy. I do stuff like that in like my NCAA, dynasty. Like, the best team from last year plays the new hot team this year. So that's just out of control right there. Opening day, Admirals versus the Shams. Boom. But then you also got, I think, CTP playing the Rebels. Then you got, Militia playing the Mustangs. You got the Hitmen taking on the Eagles. It's just a lot happening, man. And let's just kind of get into it a little bit. Like, you'll see right here on this side box right here, all the games coming up. Boston Bandits taking on Western Mass. The Admirals taking on the Shamrocks, Rebels Panthers, Militia Mustang. Then you got GSD taking on the Oilers, and the Oilers is claiming they got something special. You got the Titans and the Generals. The Generals get a chance to there's a first-year team. They get a chance to come out the gate against a pretty solid Troy Titans and make a statement. And they playing at home. I think, I don't know, confirm this for me, but I think this is the first semi-pro game at Derby High School. Then you got the Eagles Hitmen. Like, there's a lot going on. So here's my opinion. The ECFL has a chance this year to really take over as the premier league in New England, but not just New England, as the premier league in the Northeast. And here's why I say that. You know, Kev is talking about the nose and the shams at the Natty. I think that's another rematch possible at the end of the year if the Shams take care of business. But the Admirals is a good team, man. Admirals is a really good team, and honestly, I think last year the beating of the Shamrocks, I think it was from a team perspective. And Kev, you could clarify this for me. From a team perspective, I think you always expect to win, but I think once they won, it was kind of like, damn, we actually won. And that spotlight is huge because, like, you're the team now. You know what I'm saying? If you beat the Shams or you beat the Nose, you're the team now. And they didn't finish it off, you know what I'm saying, and go out and dominate nationals and all that. But I think this year, if they're able to do it, that's exactly what we're going to see. I think we're going to see the Ads, you know, put a really solid team together at the end of the year and go out and dominate a national game, get a national title. But that's if they repeat what they did last year. I think overall, with the ECFL having been around for the amount of time it's been around, having the Shams, you know, become a household name again in semi-pro after taking time off, having a militia come back, having CTP merge, and you have a smaller AAA, but even though it's smaller, it's more competitive, in my opinion, because there's less teams, it's less noise. It's like great game after great game. Like this opening weekend, we talked about already, all the great games, but that's going to be the entire season. The entire season, every week is going to be like, damn, that's a good game. Damn, that's another good game. I think they got AA correct, and I think in single A, for the first time, for the exception of the Badgers still being around and the Lightning still being around, I think for single A, there's a lot of teams that will make it to the end of the season, and that's a first for single A in the ECFL. You usually lose, you know, half of the conference every year. I know because I played in single A. As I kind of got adjusted to playing in New England and not playing in the metro, like New York, Jersey area. I think this is the year where they could really take over. Now, here's the only issue. Here's the backlash to the ECFL being so competitive is that a lot of really good teams are going to have bad records, and they're not going to look as good as they actually are. So you're going to have some really talented football teams. I could think of teams like CTP, like the Rebels, like the Militia, who are really talented. Militia went out, played Central Jersey Vikings. We murdered them. We never even played that game and absolutely dominated it. And I think you could say the same for a lot of the ECFL AAA teams. If they went out and played other teams in other leagues, NEFL, EFA, LAL, they went out and played some of these other teams, they would dominate. But their records are going to be less than 500. And I think Jim is going to have to do a good job of presenting this league in the light that it needs to be presented in. Because when you have this many solid teams, I mean, really good, talented football teams, you have to now take that step forward as a league to really say, listen, we are that premier league. You know what I'm saying? And not just be a league that's just out there and available. It needs to be a league that's well known and well respected, and that takes a little marketing. From what Big Mike is telling me, Jim has his own ECFL sponsored podcast. He's got the live streams going. I know he's in the inboxes of all the national rankings, so maybe the ECFL takes that step forward this year.
Maybe. I mean, he's got the he's got the right things around him to make it possible. I think Jim needs to possibly stay off of the chat boards. You know.
We're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that, Mike. At later in the show, we're gonna get to that.
You know, I apologize. This might not be the first time I have to run upstairs, but little man was crying, so I had to go up there and get him back down.
It's all right, man. That's all right. I mean, we all got to deal with it. So
yeah.
I was just saying that, you know, this with the ECFL kicking off this year, there's a lot on the ECFL shoulders to step up and be that Premier League, not just in New England but in the Northeast. You know what I'm saying? I think very much if you live Hartford and above, Hartford North, for the exception of New York, because New York has the GDFL. But if you live Hartford North, the ECFL is the Premier League. I think south of Hartford, because of the combination of New York guys and some Jersey guys that travel in, and just having the ability to play in other leagues because you're a little closer geographically, like I don't know if the respect is there. And I'm a New York guy, so I could say that the respect for the ECFL is not there when you leave Connecticut, when you go down into New York, Jersey. It's not there. People know of the ECFL, but the respect is not quite there when you consider the fact that you have the Admirals and you got the Shams and you got teams like CTP who have multiple national titles, USFL national titles. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We got all these teams, and the craziest thing is that CTP is not even a real championship contender. You know what I'm saying? They're a competitive team, but they're not one of the top like 6 teams that people were thinking is going to win it all.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We got the Bandits, the Boston Bandits, the return of the Militia. We had the Fire. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of really good football teams in this league. I think this year, if everything goes right, I think if Jen does a good job of managing the league, if the schedule stays competitive the way I think it will now that he's shrunk the AAA level, now that the 2A level has more than just 2 competitive teams in it and the rest of the teams get beat up. And now that I said for single A, this is the first year where half the conference is not going to fold. You know what I'm saying? This is the first year where half the conference won't fold. For the exception of the Lightning and the Badgers, I think they did a good job of getting a full conference of teams that will see the finish line.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on that. I mean, I think, and you never know, Lightning may stick it out. A lot of those players on there, I mean, to their credit, they didn't quit. They just lost.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if the Lightning gets to 0-6 and decide, you know what, enough is enough. I know the Badgers are notorious for that, but it's also injuries. And I think that's the thing for those 2 teams. It's not whether they got the heart. I think it's whether or not their roster will make it to the end.
Yeah, and see, I think what you have to do if you're Jim, if it comes down to that, where these guys are like, "Hey, listen, our entire roster's gone," put it out there in that, you know, put it out there in such that these guys do not have enough players to compete in a game.
Right.
And I'm not saying Jim hasn't in the past. I don't know if Jim has or hasn't in the past. So I'm just saying, me as a commissioner, I've noticed that a lot of times it's kind of like just left in the air, like, "Hey, your game's canceled," and then there's no reason behind it.
No explanation. It's almost like they try to cover it up instead of just acknowledging the problem.
But then you'll get a lot of guys that are like, "Oh, these motherfuckers are scared, or they don't want to play us," all that stuff, and that's where a lot of the shit talking that all these commissioners want to have go away starts.
And you know, there's a side effect to that too, that I don't want to be the guy on the team that everybody keeps saying, "Oh, shut up, you don't got no voice. Your team don't even want to play. Your team don't even show up to games." I don't want to be the guy on that team, man. I don't be that guy.
I don't want to be that guy either. I wouldn't want to be. I'd want to be the guy that's like, "Hey, listen, they're banged up. They're going to come. They're still going to play."
Yeah.
You know, I personally, I mean, my football career, I've played on some teams where we've won championships, and I've played on my whole high school career. My whole 4 years of high school, I never had a winning record. So for me, it's like, I mean, I didn't say I'm not going to play football no more. You know, I mean, our last game of the season, to some of the guys on here will understand if they're from Connecticut, and if they're, you know, old enough like me, they'll understand. Like, we had our last 2 games of the season, my years at high school, were Weaver and Bloomfield.
I know Bloomfield.
And Bloomfield was, you know, Bloomfield still in some aspects is still pumping out NFL players. No, there's 2 guys in the NFL right now that are on NFL rosters from Bloomfield. And then Weaver was just that team that had a lot of talent. Unfortunately, a lot of the kids on Weaver's teams got caught up in the gang life, and by the time they got to senior year or were graduating, they were already, you know, full careers in jail. But phenomenal football players. I mean, you didn't want to play them. You left there banged up, you know. But a lot of those kids either, you know, their fate was already sealed by senior year.
Facts.
So
yeah, I mean, I come from a different perspective. Like my junior year, we went undefeated, 12-0, won a state title, upset the team that had won the state title for the last 8 years, I think it was at that point.
Mhm.
And then the following year, we went and played Bergen Catholic out in New Jersey. Everybody knows them because they go head to head with Don Bosco. They ranked in the country every year. Played them in Giant Stadium. Up until halftime, it was a 1-point game. And then the floodgates opened. Guys got hurt. Season went downhill. And at one point, we went from the number 1 team in like the Northeast to like 50 something in the state. And for me, it was just like, so what? The season is going wrong. At the end of the day, you could be that 5-5 team that wins it all. And this was during that Giants area where Tyree was catching footballs off the top of his head and stuff. It's just like you never give up, bro. Like that's not the sport that we play.
Well, not only that, like this is gonna sound a little selfish, but like for me in high school. So for me in high school, I was one of the few kids on my team that was getting recruited. Like I knew my junior year I was playing college football. You know, so while a lot of the kids on my team were, you know, knowing that the senior year was their last year, and then when it got to the last couple of games of the year, they were like, "These are the last times I'm ever going to play football again." I was like, "Nah, I know I'm going to play." You know, for me, it was one of the things where, in the beginning of the season, you want to win for the team, but like more like your sophomore, your junior year, because your senior year, by senior year, I was already pretty much set with recruiting and all that stuff. But you know, my junior and sophomore year, it was like, well, fuck it. You know, we're already 0-4. I'm gonna play for a scholarship now.
Facts. I'm just going please at this point.
Now I'm playing for a scholarship. I don't care if we lose this game at all, but I'm gonna have 10 tackles. And you know, they're gonna be like, how's the D tackle getting all these tackles? Well, I'm gonna get in there. Like, and then, you know, so that's what I would do. So it's like, even with semi-pro football, you know, and this is gonna sound terrible coming from me, and I generally don't think like this, but if you're on a team that's terrible and your team's losing, you know, be that bright spot on that team that other teams might want to take you next year.
Hey, you know, that brings me to the point of look at where these games are being played at in the ECFL. When you look at it, let me see if I can make it a little bigger.
ECFL?
In the ECFL, you got Minnetonka Regional High School, which has a pretty nice campus.
Mm-hmm.
You got Veterans Memorial Field, which is a really nice campus. It's one of the best high school fields in the state. You got St. Anselm College. Derby High School is considered top dog facility in Western Connecticut, you know, Lower Western Connecticut. You got Jill Stadium, which is a really nice field.
That's where we play.
Yeah, and then you got Pierce Memorial. You know what I'm saying? So like, even I personally, I like Bailey Field. I personally like Bailey. So, you got some really good opportunities, and that's not I think St. Anselm is not the only college that we have games at in the ECFL. So I think if you understand, and especially if you're a younger guy and you're willing to go back to school, if you go and you play at this college, you never know who's watching. You
Yeah.
never know who's sitting at that gate checking it out. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, even if you're an older guy, you don't know what those contacts are at that school. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? They might have a contact to a scout somewhere.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, you never know. You're 100% correct. Like, I don't think I ever told you how I got recruited or how I ended up making my way to arena and all that stuff. Was was one of our coaches became a scout,
wow.
and he got us hooked. Well, also too, back in the day, they used to have a thing called the regional combine. So they
Right.
had the
I remember that.
so, I was invited to the Baltimore camp, and then from the Baltimore camp, that's where I made my ability to go play arena football and get looked at from a couple other teams. But you know, there was another guy on my team. His name was Will, and he was a CO, Connecticut CO, and he played in one of the games. And there happened to be a person who was on some downtime that was at one of our games that was just a scout for another college that happened to be driving through to go to his next location. And was like, oh, there's a football game, I'll come check it out. Stopped in and saw Will, and then next thing you know, Will's getting looked at by the Arizona Cardinals. So,
Crazy.
I mean, he didn't go. I mean, he ended up staying where he was just because he already had a very well established job. But just to say he had that, was
Crazy.
you never know. You're 100% correct. You never know who's going to be watching.
Facts. All right, let's get into it, man. Predictions.
Ugh.
Let's predict this.
All right, Gems are going to win this week.
Let's start with one delay. Now let's not do the week by week. I think the week by week has been beaten to death.
Oh, okay. All
But
right.
we will talk about the games too, I guess. Let's go to the schedule. What is it? 6-12 to 6-18, right? I got the schedule up.
The only reason Gems is because they don't have a game this week.
Yeah. And you know what I'll do is let's see if I can just get the Coast Conference. There we go. All right, so let's do predictions first for the season. And I guess we'll go from the bottom up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll make some notes on the side so we can kind of keep track of this. From the bottom up, so Thundercats. I'd say the Thundercats will probably go, they're playing 8 games.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Thundercats will go 3-5.
I'll go 4-4.
Here's why. I'm getting reports. This is unconfirmed, but I'm getting reports that their best defensive players are no longer there. They got to rebuild the roster. Offense has to be totally rebuilt. Their best offensive player last year was Markel Dobbs, who now I believe is a co-owner of the Valley Generals. But definitely the head of that offense. So you losing defense and offense, bro, you're gonna have a tough season.
You are. I mean, and I know LB is going to have his hands full, and LB is that type of owner that probably will be able to recover. But I mean, I say 4-4 just because I feel like there'll be one game that,
But still,
yeah, I think there'll be one game in that bunch that they might, not get overlooked, but just they play tough enough, and when they win it.
I get you. Gems, probably the best, second best roster on paper.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely the most hyped up roster on paper. Very talented. I think they lose 2 games, maybe 6-2.
I'm gonna go 7-1. I'm gonna go 7. The only team I see them losing to, honestly, is the Flyers, and that's just my report. And we all know. I mean, as everyone knows, these guys are. This is basically like a parent company to me because I used to be the owner of the Vipers, and now a lot of these guys went and became the gems from. So a lot of my guys are now these guys, but and I'm looking forward to this season for these guys. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
They're not going to go play with them, but they wanted me to, but I think they're gonna have a good season. I think 7-1. They have a lot of new talent. There's a lot of talent that wasn't there when we were there. Would I say the talent is as good as me and you were? No, but I can say that they do have spots where those people can step up and fill those roles.
Yeah, I mean, Quan is unstoppable in single A. Even double cover, he's unstoppable in single A. I think Dave Harris is unstoppable in single A. Even with a bad offensive line, he's just that fast. He's just that type of guy.
Yep.
From what you told me about the young kid that they got coming in at running back, he's like a younger me.
Yep.
So that's awesome. They got Dean playing offensive line now. That's his forte.
Yeah, left tackle.
So they got a solid offensive line for single A as long as they stay healthy. Defensively, I mean, they got Harlem. Harlem is military guy, so he's going to expect the most out of you, and he's going to try to get that out of you. And I'm pretty sure they're going to practice because that's just the culture there. So
you got black.
They should be a good team. I agree. I think the Bruins will struggle. I say 4-4. I still think even if they struggle, I still think
I agree with you.
they're better than a lot of these teams.
Right? What? Oh God. Go 4-4. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm gonna just. Can I go ahead for 1 second? Because I have to take care of that.
You gotta run.
I think the Lightning are gonna go on not win.
0-8.
I do think 4-4 for the Bruins, and I think the Flyers are either gonna go 8-0 or 7-1.
Pick one.
But I'm leaning 8-0.
I agree. What about the Panthers? Roster is gonna be very different than the spring.
I don't know much about them, so
Nobody does. They're new.
So I'd say 5-3.
That's,
just what I saw from last year or the not last year, but the spring. Badgers. If the Badgers, I'll come in 2 seconds, Bry. If the Badgers don't fold, maybe they squeak out one game.
1-7, okay. Against the Lightning, probably. Ravens.
What do you think?
The Ravens were a double-A team last year. And the Raptors are from the NEFL.
Yeah, the Ravens and the Raptors I don't know anything about. But I do know you said I knew the Ravens were coming down from AA, so I'll say 6-2.
The Raptors they were a middle of the road NEFL team.
2-6.
Okay.
Two
right,
just because of 2-6 just because of the travel.
All right, go ahead and run. Try to get back quick.
I'll be back.
All right, I think piggybacking off of Mike, I think with the Bruins, we got that right, 4-4. The Lightning, I agree, 0-8. I mean, they got a lot of strides to make. They have to get better at football as a whole, right? I think the best thing that the Lightning can do is find a high level coach that is willing to take his career into semi-pro. A guy that really knows football that can get that program running, because they need to be a well coached team before anything else. Before they can get the talent, before they can start to build up the program and get sponsorships and I mean they play at a really solid facility. And they've got really solid guys who really love football. They need to start with really talented coaching, get that team really coached up well. And then I think the talent will start to trickle in, and then sponsorships will start to trickle in, and then you'll make a name for yourself. The Flyers, I agree, absolutely 8-0. I think the Gems try to get in their way. I think the defense is good enough to deal with the Gems' strengths. I think the offense has been playing together for long enough, and they are talented enough to put up points. I think it'll be a shootout. I don't think it'll. I don't think it'll be a blowout. Um, I even think that the Thundercats will challenge them. Um, I think the Ravens have the ability to challenge them. I think the Bruins might be able to give them a little bit of a fight defensively, at least. Um, but yeah, I see 8-0. The Northeast Panthers, who are based out of Massachusetts, um, I disagree with Mike. I don't think they go 5-3. I think that roster is going to have a overhaul. I think they're 3-5. I think it's flipped. I think they'll beat some of the weaker teams, and when they play any team that's competitive, they'll give that up. Badgers 1-7. Actually, let me just check real quick, because if the Badgers have the Lightning on their schedule. That's the Badgers spring. Where's the Badgers coast? Golden Badgers. They got the Flyer. They got the Lightning. All right, so I think they win against the Lightning week 2. They got Bruins, Gems, Raptors again, Ravens, not again. Raptors once, Ravens, Thundercats, and then the Black Panthers. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. Yeah, they're 1-7. They're 1-7. They beat the Lightning. All right, I'm cool with that. Then we got the Ravens at the top, the Rhodey Ravens. I don't think they'll be 6-2. I think they'll be 5-3. I think they'll be 5-3. The Ravens were a decent team in Double A, but they were the worst team in Double A, if I remember correctly. And I'm pretty sure with the way that the Hurricanes are looking, that a lot of the better Ravens players are probably going to want to be with the Hurricanes, want to stay in Double A, not necessarily want to drop down. So there's not a lot of word coming from them. I definitely should reach out to their organization, see if I can get some information. But I could definitely see the roster not being as strong as it was in Double A. But I think with the way that this conference is balanced out, it's very top heavy. So I think they lose to the top teams and they compete against the rest of them, best of the middle pack. And then we got the Rhode Island Raptors, the last team, NEFL. Mike said 2-6. I think the Raptors are better than that. I think the Raptors are good enough to go 500, and I'm saying they go 4-4. I'm saying they go 4-4. I think they can. I think they can squeak out some close games in the middle of the pack. I think they can't get past the Ravens, but I think they definitely better than Badgers, Lightning. You know what I'm saying? They might be able to beat the Bruins. They might get the Thundercats. Um, a lot of maybes, a lot of mights, but I think they can. I think they can pull it off. I think they're good enough to team to do that. So to wrap it up, while Mike is doing daddy duties, to wrap it up, we got the best team, Flyers 8-0. The worst team, CT Lightning 0-8. The best middle of the pack team, Ravens, Rhodey Ravens, and then I guess you could say the championship game will be the Gems versus the Windsor Flyers, Southington Gems versus the Windsor Flyers. So I think, you know, this is what a league should look like. You know, it's top heavy. You got a decent amount of middle of the pack teams. You got the Ravens 5-3, Raptors 4-4, Bruins 4-4, Panthers 3-5. Like that's a solid middle of the pack. You got two pretty bad teams with the Lightning and the Badgers, and then you got also the Thundercats. Sorry, at 3-5 in the middle of the pack, and then you got at the top the Gems and the Flyers. So you got your bad guys, you got your good guys, and you got the rest of you guys who are just trying to make something shape, which is pretty cool. All right, let's get to it then. You know, double A, 2A. Now, the 2A champion, national champions, was a single A team last year. Beat me and Mike and the rest of our guys, Larry Garcia included, the Vipers, in the semifinals. Went on to beat the Thundercats in the championship in the ECFL, and then went on to continue that success and win it all for a USFA championship. Now they're in double A. They already actually played a game. Yeah. They went up against GSD, who last year was a AAA team. GSD is a very well-known team at that. I know people are saying that they're not the same. Their roster is definitely not the same. But they're still GSD. Like, they're still GSD. That's like, the Shams might lose some people. And I'm pretty sure that the Shams got a decent amount of their roster that revolves. People got guys come in, guys leave. Guys come in thinking that they're going to get some playing time. It's a program. They don't get the playing time they're looking for. They get tired of sitting the bench, or they just get the name of being a Shams player, and other guys want them, and they going to get out of there. So, like, the Shams is always going to be the Shams. GSD is always going to be a GSD. Like, they're always going to be Granite State Destroyers. They lost by 1 point. So that goes to show you how good the Hitmen really are. At the end of the day, this is a tight conference, man. This is a tight conference. So let's start to talk about it. Like, where do we start? Let me take a step back. I think that when you look at the double A conference as a whole, solid as hell. Solid as all hell, man. The double A conference is the East Conference for everybody watching at home. Granite State Destroyers, Haverhill Hitmen, Marshfield Hurricanes, Mill City Generals, Valley Generals, Mill City Eagles, Valley Generals, Troy City Titans, and the Randolph Oilers. All right. I believe the Randolph Oilers is a first-year team. Troy City Titans, I think they're a first-year team. Valley Generals is a first-year team. Mill City Eagles, I believe, was AAA last year. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. GSD was AAA last year, and Marshfield Hurricanes was AA last year. However, you had the Rhode Island Cowboys in AAA, who I think they folded, and the rest of the Cowboys players went to the Marshfield Hurricanes. Usually when teams merge, you see a merger of names, a merger of colors, some kind of creative decision merges. And that's not what we're seeing. We're seeing the Hurricanes be the Hurricanes. However, the rumor mill is that a lot of their roster is starters from Rhode Island Cowboys. We got Mike back. So
yeah, we do.
You have a double A conference full of AAA teams, but also full of brand new teams. I think this can really go either way. And what I mean by that is last year you had 2 teams dominate and only lose to each other, while the rest struggled to win and only beat each other. And I think we could see that happen again, where the top 3 teams, GSD, the Hitmen, and the Hurricanes, will fight each other, duke it out with each other, and absolutely destroy the rest of the conference. I don't think it'll really be competitive. It won't even really be close when those other 4 teams, the Eagles, Generals, Titans, and Oilers, go up against those 3 teams. However, the fact that this year the AA conference is not just 4 teams and that it's 7 teams, I think it will make it look better. So let's get into why I think it'll look better. Let's go ahead and start. Mike, again, AA is the East Coast Conference. Let's go ahead and start again from the bottom up. So we'll go Oilers, then we'll go Titans, and so forth. Now, Oilers, Randolph Oilers, brand new team. I went based on their home field, and I believe the Oilers are in Mass, like North and Western Mass.
I think they're all Mass except for the Valley Generals.
Right. No. Marshall Hurricanes is in Rhode Island.
And Destroyers are in New Hampshire, right?
Yes, he is in New Hampshire.
Okay.
I think brand new team, AA level, trying to pull recruitment from an area that's so overly recruited, so heavily recruited. All the talent that is there is pulled into so many different places. I think the Oilers are going to struggle. I think they're going to have a tough time. They are saying that we got something good. But from the outside looking, I think the Oilers struggle. So let me just double check really quick. I'm going to go back to the ECFL website and just make sure that they are playing 8 games and not 10. Let me go to the schedule. And let me go to the East Conference. And let me see the entire schedule for the East Conference. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. We got 10 weeks. Okay, so we got a 10-game schedule, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We got 9. I got 9 games and not 10.
Because of that first game. You're counting week 1. Week 1 was just 2 teams.
Right. So we got 9 weeks.
Yeah.
Okay. So we got a 9-game schedule for AA. A little weird, a little awkward, but fine.
I mean, 7 teams too, so kind of.
Yeah. So let's do it. Let's start with Oilers.
2-7. I have no reason. I don't know who they are. So I'll go 2-7 just because of everything you just said. And
well, let me go back to how it looked. Let me just look at the conference as a whole, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who I see them beating?
Well, I also don't know the Titans, and I also don't know.
The Titans are solid. The Titans is the team that beat the Shams in the preseason.
So every team solid. So the only teams that like I obviously
City Eagles are solid, but I think they might be at the bottom as well. I think they went winless last year. I gotta double check this information. I'm definitely going to do that at some point.
That was in AAA though, right?
Yes, that was in AAA.
Yeah, it's a little different. If they keep that same crew, and they didn't lose anybody, then they go to AA. You might be undefeated.
All right, what'd you say for the Oilers? 2-7.
2-7.
I'm saying 1-8.
All right. I mean, that's a good record for a new team coming in.
Nah.
Kind of.
Nah. That's tough. Maybe the Oilers should have started in single A. Maybe. And maybe Jim knows something about them that I don't. Maybe that's why GSD's not looking as strong because some of their better players are in other places. And I don't really know. But
possibility.
All right, Troy City Titans. I'm saying it's 9 games. 4-5. 4-5.
I'll say 3 and 6.
I know they losing 3 off the top.
Top 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then again, at the same point in time, I don't really know them. I don't know any of the players, all that stuff.
You know them. Some of 2 of them.
Who are there?
Your colleagues on the offensive line.
I stand where I said what I said.
Not because I changed it. 5 and 4.
I don't know, because the only reason I say I only know. Wait, are they the team that beat the Shams?
Yes.
Was that a fluke though?
No, the Shams just were light. The Shams were light in that.
All right, I'll change it. How many games they have? 9.
9.
What did you say? 5 and 4?
Yeah, I said 5 and 4.
All right, I'll agree with you on that.
Okay, an agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Generals. Ooh, this is tough. They got a talented boy in Markel Dobbs. They got a nice looking guy, linebacker. I heard he was a D1 AA guy, I think. The quarterback is a dog, absolute dog. I think this team has something special.
I have a question. Where are the linebacking core from the Thundercats last year?
I'll be honest. I'm trying to get one of them.
Yeah, but like O'Dai and Shondell, where are they? I haven't seen anywhere of where they are. Or are they on a roster? Are they not on a roster?
Neither one is on a roster. From what I.
And so they're not saying where they're going to be.
O'Dai has put some information out over the last couple of days where he was saying, I wish the best, and I'm going to be watching.
Okay, so
I'm trying to get one of the two. I'm not going to say which one, but I'm trying to get one of the two. Come help me out.
I mean, either one's good.
Either one. Both of them is better, but either one is good.
I was going to say either one is a good addition to any team. That's
why I said what I said about them. So, Generals, I think because they have a great quarterback, the question is O-line, can they hold up against the better teams? I'm gonna say the Generals.
What's going on?
Go 5 and 4 as well.
Is that you, Morris, or is that me?
What? Getting choppy on me? You can hear me? I think Mike is I think he's gonna restart. All right, so I got Oilers, Titans, Generals. We'll get Mike back in to get his prediction on the Generals. Let's go to the Eagles. Mill City Eagles. This is tough. They are historically a AAA team. Didn't do so well up there. Coming down here. It's a competitive AA.
I don't know what just happened.
It happens. That's technology, man.
Yeah, it wasn't for the baby. It wasn't for the baby this time. It just went completely dark on me.
All right, so let's take a step back before we do the Mill City Eagles. What do you think on the Generals? I said 5 and 4.
I agree with you. I honestly, I'm not just saying that. I just kind of agree with you because they're a brand new team. It's going to take those guys. Like, they have talent, but it's going to take those guys a minute to gel.
Yeah.
So and they might be in the same position that we were in with the Vipers. We had a good, talented group, but it didn't really start to click until the end. And then at the end, we were playing the much more complete teams.
Right. Right.
I don't want to say the Flyers or the Hitmen were better talent-wise. I feel like they just had they were together longer and they were able to overcome what we had together.
Yeah, they definitely we had challenges as a first year team at as a first year roster where the Flyers have been together for years. Even though they put better pieces in, the core was there for some time. And
And
then
same
same thing for the Hitmen. I mean, they were just coming off a spring championship, so they was in rhythm.
yeah.
All right, so the Mill City Eagles is tough. I think 4-5. Like, and that's even hard.
Yeah, I'm gonna say 5-4. I mean, that's all I'm saying. So,
I'm gonna say 3-6, actually.
you just went completely all right.
I say
Well,
3-6.
wait.
I
So
think they performed so poorly in AAA.
see, but
On
that's
my
why
memory.
they're gonna do
Mike, talk us through why you feel like that while I try to double check.
it. Well, I just feel that way because I've watched teams from last year and the years prior drop down from AAA where they were either middle of the pack or non-winning team, and then come down and dominate.
All right, so
You know,
I got this. I got it right here. So can you see it?
yeah, I just gotta blow it up. Hold on.
All right, I got the opening day. Where's opening day? Opening day 39-0. They smoked the Brockton Bucks. Then they lost 14-6 to GSD. Lost 29-18 to the Shams. They beat the Troy City Titans 38-12. So Troy City is not a new team. I knew that. I thought so. Thought I seen them before. They lost to the Shams again, 35-14. They beat the Boston Bandits 16-10. Then GSD smoked them 42-8. The Eagles beat the Brockton Bucks again 7-0. So they went from 39-0 to 7-0. Something tells me that the first game was at home and that last game was away. And then the Boston Bandits beat them 36-7. So that tells me that when they beat the Bandits the first time, they likely beat them at home. Yeah, and McCarthy Middle School. Nah, so I think McCarthy Middle School is their team. Their field.
Probably.
McCarthy Middle School is their field. So the first time they beat the Brockton Bucks, they beat them on the road, and then the second time they lost to them at home. That's weird. That's opposite. That's in reverse.
Yeah, it's kind of not what happens usually.
All right, so they got 3 wins, right? No, they got 4 wins. They went 4-6. That's not bad. I think the team that I was thinking that did very poorly was the Troy City Titans. Let's go back.
So 3 teams from AAA who dropped down.
Yeah. How do I get back? Here we go. Troy City Titans. Let's do it. Let's go back. Let's look at the scores. Let's look at 2022. Opening day. Lost 18-0 to the Mustangs, 27-0 to the Panthers, 50-20 to the Cowboys, 38-12 to Mill City, 36 to the Cowboys, 49-18 to the Mustangs, 32-14 to the Panthers. That was a close one, and Marshfield Hurricanes was a 2A team, and they lost 15-13 to a 2A team. Ah, man, I think we got to go back, Mike. We had it in reverse this whole time.
So my original one was what 3-7 or 3 and.
All right, hold on. Sean Edwards has tapped in. Titans was 0-10. Hell no. AA only have 8 games. All right, cool. Thank you for clarifying those things for us. They got 10 weeks and 8 games. It's crazy. I don't understand it, but anyway. All right.
2-6.
Let's go back. I said the Titans 5-4. Titans 3-6. 3-6.
All right, I'm gonna say 2 and whatever. Wait, 8 games?
It's It's 8 games.
Yeah, me confused for a second. I was like, so I'm gonna say 2. I'm gonna say 2 and 6.
I think I'm gonna agree with you on that. 2-6. I don't know if they want to. All right, so we got to get the Oilers too. The Oilers, I got 1-8. Now I got to give the Oilers 1-7. I still don't think they win more than one game. And you got them what, 2-5?
Yeah, I think
what, 2-6.
Yeah, I'll just stay there.
Okay. Generals, we had 5-4. Now I'm saying the Generals 5-3. That's easy.
Yeah, I'll say something.
And the Eagles, I had 3-6. Now I'm a flip that all on its head. I'm gonna say the Eagles.
4-4.
5-4. Sorry, 5-3.
I'll go 4-4.
It's going 4-4. That's
could have sworn I just heard that big.
That's tough, dude. That's tough. All right, so I knew it. Listen, I be listening to people sometimes, but I remembered the Troy City Titans from last year. And people were saying they were a new team. I think what it is that they got a lot of new pieces to their roster. They're not a new team. Yeah, I remember that. All right, so Marshfield Hurricanes. We know the Cowboys is basically the Hurricanes, right? So it's the Hurricanes roster with the Cowboys guys. I think what the Hurricanes was missing is what the Cowboys had, and I think vice versa. So I think now you're looking at a complete team. I think more likely, like we talked about, creative input when you see a merger normally reflects both teams. Like the colors will change, but the name will stay, or the name will get mixed in and the colors will change or something. We're not seeing that. We're seeing the same Marshfield Hurricanes, just with new talent. So I think they're a complete team, and that might be the reason why they're in AA and not AAA, because it's the Hurricanes. And maybe they want to prove that they can actually be competitive before they move up. Maybe so. I think that this team has the ability to beat all but one. So I'm saying
I was going to say 7-1 myself.
Yeah, I'm saying 7-1. Now, can they actually pull it off? I don't know, but or set high for them. All right, the Hitmen started off with a close loss to GSD. Only other team I think that can get them, the Hurricanes, and another close loss.
Yeah, agree with you. 6-2.
Yeah, 6-2. And then the last team, GSD, I think they go undefeated. 8-0.
Yeah, I was going to say,
8-0. All right, so to wrap it up, the worst team in the league, well, in the conference, AA, is the Oilers. I think that's like a close tie with the Troy City Titans. The best middle of the pack team is the Eagles, Mill City Eagles. That's even a tie, with the Valley Generals. And then, best team is GSD. And then I think for a championship game, we got the Hurricanes versus the GSD. Yeah. And the upset boys would be the Hitmen. I think with 6-2, the Hitmen have the ability to upset both GSD or the Hurricanes. And potentially win it all. So that's I'm not gonna lie, it's top heavy, but it's tight. Like, it's not that I think the Titans are bad. It's not that I don't think the Generals have what it takes. It's just that it's a tough conference. You know what I'm saying? Those teams are all relatively close.
But then again, any given Saturday.
Any given goddamn Saturday. Any given Saturday. All right, man. Let's go ahead and get it done. The last one. AAA. Them boys right there. Them Marlboro Shamrocks. Yeah, the ads beat them. Yeah, the ads took care of business. Michael Rapp was on the Falcons. Shout out to you, Mike. He's a part of that Valley Generals team. He's gonna be a part of that engine that gets it running.
Hey, listen, I'm pulling for him. I'm pulling for every Connecticut team due to the fact that I am. So And since they're the only Connecticut team in AA, I'm definitely pulling for them.
Listen, in AAA though, it's been a while since the Connecticut team has dominated AAA, and another year looking like it. So we'll start with the South Division, and we'll just jump right into it. Hartford Rebels, talented offense, one of the best receivers in this league, in my opinion. One of the best receivers in the Northeast. Chris Easter, that's my boy, my brother.
Mhm.
I wish he was still with the militia, but he decided to do what he thought was best for him. And he went back to the Rebels. So they're going to be talented offensively. They lost some pieces on their defense. They lost a coordinator who moved on. But, you know, the big man, Big Benny, is back to lead his organization. He's back in AAA. I think 10 games, Rebels go 4-6.
All right. I don't know, man. This one's a tough division. This is tough.
Listen, they didn't do that well last year. Hold on, let me pull up what they did last year, because they didn't do as well as they should have last year. It could have been the fact that Benny wasn't there.
How many games is it? 10?
It's 10 games in triple.
What is it? 8? You guys all play each other in two extra, or?
I don't think we have any extra. I think everybody just plays each other, and I think
you play two double.
It's 2 games in your division, well, in your conference, and then you play. You play 2
outside
games or something like that.
Okay, that makes sense.
This is the Rebels. I'm gonna make it big for you. This is the Rebels last year scores. This is what they did last year. So, I mean, they lost to the Bulls. They beat the crap out of the Ravens. They had a close game, too close for comfort with the Hitmen. They smoked the Hurricanes, turned around and beat them again, back to back. Then they lost to the Cowboys in a close one, shootout. Lost to the Shams in a close one. That's close for me, for what I think the Shams should have did to a 2A team. Then they shut out the Ravens. Then they beat the Bulls, and then they turned around and they beat the Ravens. So
double A or triple A?
That's double A from last year. This is the scores from last year.
Oh, that's right. All right, I keep forgetting that the Bulls were double A.
Yeah. Doesn't show the final game, the championship game, but we know that the Bulls ended up winning the championship game. So
yeah. But that was also double A.
So I mean, I think they did well, but it's not like they really killed it. I mean, I think they played really good against the Shams. I think they're a really solid football team. And don't get me wrong, I'm seeing 4-6, but I'm not seeing 4-6 like they can't go, like they can't flip that. I think they could easily flip that and go 6-4. But
I don't know. For some reason, I'm thinking like 3-7. I'm thinking 3-7, but in like all tight games.
I think they split games with the Panthers. I think they split games with my team, the Militia.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Mustangs have the ability to beat them both times.
Yeah.
So that right there is 4 losses. And then depending on, I don't know their full schedule, but if they got to see the Admirals, if they got to see the Shams, that's another 2 losses right there. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I think if they got to see the Bandits, that's a tough one. They could potentially go either way with the Bandits. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I think that's realistic. You know what I'm saying?
No, I agree with you.
Let's keep going. CTP. I don't even think we can. Can we still call them CTP, or are they NEP now? I think they NEP now.
They're NEP.
The NEP now. I bet. So NEP, I think they're gonna have a rough year. I'm saying 3-7.
Yeah, I love you, Bull. I love you, Wade, and Bobby, and all those guys that I played with the Bulls with. But I don't know enough on the firepower that they have.
They lost their best players.
So for me, it's I know the guys that I know can carry that team to victory. Like I know those guys can play. Those guys can ball. I just don't know if they have enough of what I know of the other teams. So
I mean, they still got Rocket. They still got a lot of guys. They still got a team, but I think merging an organization is a challenge, a huge challenge.
what did you say? 3-7?
I said 3-7.
All right, I'm gonna go 4-6.
I think merging a team is a challenge. I think that the division is gotten more competitive. I think the conference itself has gotten more competitive.
Well, I know they have one game on the schedule they circled months ago.
Which one is that?
Shamrocks.
Shams?
That's
To me, the game that they need to circle is the Rebels.
well, the reason I say Shams is because Donahue.
I get it, but the game that you need to be worried about is the Rebels. Y'all got to handle the Rebels.
I mean, I think they have the Rebel circle too, because that rivalry that Bull rivalry is still there.
That's what I'm saying. I think it just transferred from Bulls Rebels to Panthers Rebels rivalry now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. But I feel like that Shamrock one kind of upped up a little bit.
Definitely upped up with Donahue, their quarterback leaving to go be there. And it's not even confirmed that he'll be starting. So honestly, in my opinion, it's not even confirmed that Donahue won't be their quarterback at some point during the season. It's not confirmed yet.
I mean, that's I don't know the situation. So
and the Panthers could very easily go from.
Well, remember too, Donahue usually goes dark around now.
Yeah. So they could easily flip from 3-7, 4-6 to 5-5, 6-4, depending on how things shape up. What's the name? The receiver who played corner. He was at the Fire. Why don't I always? Oh, his name's slipping me, huh? Plant.
Plant.
If Dana goes back, him, Rocket, Donahue, that's dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Andre Lyons, Lester, that's dangerous. Right now, they looking a little shaky.
Lyons isn't in college. I thought Lyons went to college.
Hey, we don't know. He might go home. He might come home. We don't know.
I mean, hey, whatever he chooses to do.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know until the games start being played. Just right now they look shaky.
We won't know until tomorrow. Is what you're telling
me. Mustangs. For me, I got the Mustangs at 8-2.
Yeah. I'm up there. I'm up there with them. I'm gonna go 9-1 just because I have who I have on there. So I'll go 9-1 just because I know I was on that team. So I was supposed to play for the Mustangs before I decided to retire after the Falcons game. So I know what they have on that team.
Yep.
And they're with it. I'll tell you that.
They solid, man. They solid. Listen, I think it's going to be a rough 2 weeks.
Yeah. Listen, like I said, here's the thing. I know in this division now it's funny because when I came into the ECFL, not to do a long story, but when I came in, I started with the Bulls, then went to the Vipers. Now then was going to go to the Mustangs this year, but decided to take this time off, heal up and all that stuff, and possibly retire completely. But I now know a lot of people in AAA, so I almost know more people in AAA now than I do the other two. So it's kind of funny because now it's I do know what these teams have. You know, I don't know everybody, but I do know what these teams have. I have seen the shit talking going on the last 2.5, 3 years. So for now, it's like all these teams right now, every single one of these teams has the ability to gel and just go on a run and win. Like there's really I don't know much about the Mass teams, but at least the Connecticut teams, other than the Shamrocks and the Admirals, I don't know really much about the Raiders and the Bandits.
We'll get to them.
Yeah, I know, but
I think for the Mustangs, I think the only two games that they really realistically will drop is the Admirals and the Shamrocks if they play them. Listen,
also,
I gotta play them tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying I'm gonna go into that game and lose that game. I'm going into that game confident we can shock them.
yeah,
But realistically, from the outside and in, I think
I'd expect nothing less from any of you guys.
facts.
I've seen the shit talking. Let me tell you, it is.
Yeah, I'm bringing fire. I'm bringing hell and brimstone tomorrow. You know, they don't understand. Like AAA is not the play around league. I take AAA as serious as I took college. You know what I'm saying? And I've been preparing for this. So tomorrow they're gonna get a different me than they expecting. That's for sure. I know a lot of people got some stuff to say, and more is this and more is that. I ain't getting my fucking way tomorrow, boy. I tell you, it's gonna hurt.
So what I'm hearing is you got some billboard material. You got a couple of things posted up from what I'm hearing now.
Nah.
Yeah. Nah. Listen, I was in that huddle. I was in that huddle. I was there. I might not have said a word, but I was hearing it.
Listen, it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna keep saying, I'm gonna keep repeating that. It's gonna be fun. All right, Militia, my team.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this one.
I'm gonna be realistic with you. From inside the huddle, from at the practices, I think this team's morale is not where it should be. I think the talent level is there to compete. I think the morale is not quite there.
Bray, help me out.
I think what happens tomorrow is going to dictate in a big way what happens for the rest of the season. I think we could split games with the Panthers. I think we could split games with the Rebels. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not even going to lie to you. I think we could sweep the Panthers. I think we're going to split games with the Rebels. I think we're going to struggle to get a win against the Stings. So right there, you got 3 wins. We got the Western Mass Raiders that I think we can take. That's 4 wins, and I think we might be able to steal a win. So I honestly think we can go 5-5. No, that's my honest opinion.
And I'm gonna go middle too because I got a couple guys on that team as well that I know, and I actually got a lot of coaches on that team that I know because I played with some of them. So I know the quality of people on that team, and I know their mindset. So I can go 5-5 with you.
So quick recap of the Southern Division. Best team is the Mustangs. Worst team is the NEP Panthers. And probably the best middle team is the Militia. All right. So now we're going in.
Hey, I got to go take care of the babies crying again. I'll be right back.
All right. Good. Northern Division. Daddy duties is a motherfucker. All right, listen. Let's get back to the show. We're going to wrap this up. Northern Division, we're going to start with Western Mass Raiders. I think the Raiders going to have a tough time. I think their wins are going to come outside of the division. They might get lucky with Boston Bandits not traveling well to them. They might not get lucky. I'm going to say 3-7. And that's realistically just saying that. And your division, man, you playing some tough teams, man. You got to see them twice. The Bandits is a high-powered offense who at times they roster just doesn't show up. That's what it's been. Maybe things are different this year. we know what the Shams and the Admirals are about. So Western Mass Raiders, you're gonna have to get your wins in the Southern Division, and that's gonna be tough. So I, honestly, I'm even gonna drop that. I'm not even saying 3-7. I'm saying 2-8. Get 2-8 for me. Let's kick it to the Admirals. Love you, Connie. Love you, Connie. I'm sorry I didn't even see that. I didn't even see all of this. Hold on. Let's get to it. Valley Generals. What was the Generals' prediction? Let's go to this. The Generals' prediction. We had the Generals 5-3. We're the Generals 5-3, tied for the best middle pack team in 2A with the Mill City Eagles. Quick recap. Connie, Mustangs over everything. Mustangs overrated. Get the hell out of here. Love you too, Connie. All right, cool. So let's get back to it. Admirals. From where we left off last year, Admirals is the team to beat. I know there's some defectors from the Shamrocks to the Admirals. I know that the Admirals, after winning the way that they did, they was able to recruit. They're starting to build their own little empire there. They want to take over. So I'm gonna go ahead and say 10-0. The Admirals. I'm fucking lying. They're gonna at least drop one. 9-1. You know, they're gonna at least drop one during the season. The conference itself is tighter. It's less teams, and when there's less teams, there's less places for the talent to go, and they pack up. So I think there's a place for somebody to shock the Admirals. It's going to be at least one game where they don't come correct. It's going to be at least one game and they're going to get shocked. Shamrocks, I think 9-1, and what really did that for me, honestly, preseason, I thought the Shams would go undefeated. I think they would take back their crown from the Admirals. What really shocked it for me was the preseason weakness that I seen in them when certain guys don't show up. When certain guys don't show up, that team is not the same. So if there's for any reason a guy gets injured, knock on wood, hope that doesn't happen, but a guy gets married or birth of a child or something, anything that takes guys away from the game, they're going to be in trouble. So I think at least one game this year that happens. And then the last one is the Boston Bandits. Like I said, when the roster shows up, one of the most high-powered offenses out there. When the roster doesn't show up, terrible. Their defense has never really been the focal point of that team. They usually give up. They're like a fast break team. You know what I'm saying? They'll give up some, but they're gonna dish it out. I think they can probably go 5-5 this year. That's very low for the Bandits, but I think that's because the Shams and the Admirals is gonna have their number. I think they 0-4 in both those games. I think they're gonna smoke the Western Mass Raiders both times. They might drop one on the road. But then when they got to play those teams in the Southern Division, I think it's gonna be tough for them this year. Good luck with the Mustangs if you got to play them. Good luck with the Militia if you got to play us. Rebels, I think, could take them. Panthers might struggle depending on what they bring that day. So for the Northern Division, we got the best team tied, Admiral Shamrocks. We know how that goes. That's a 1-point swing depending on what day it is. Middle pack team is obviously the Bandits. Overall for AAA, the best teams, Mustangs, Admiral, Shamrocks. That's the top three. The best middle of the pack teams, Bandits, Militia. The team that could probably shock the world and really go on a run and like flip the script, I honestly think is the Rebels, the Hartford Rebels. I think they could very easily go 7-3, and really put some stuff together and really do something special this year. So, championship game, I'm gonna say the Admirals do it again. They get back to the chip again this year, and I think the Mustangs will see them. That's what I'm saying. Admirals, Mustangs in the championship game. All right, y'all. Predictions is done. That's what it is. That's how we feeling about everything that's coming up. Tomorrow's a big day. It's opening weekend. We got some crazy games tomorrow. I want to really just take a second to really look at it one more time. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that Admiral Shams game we get to see right away. Admiral Shamrocks. I saw a prediction from East Coast LockerRoom Live where they said they thought it was going to be a 1-point game. I think 35-36 was their prediction for tomorrow. Let's take a look at the schedule real quick. Boston Bandits, Western Mass Raiders. We get to see Minichog Regional High. I think that's Western Mass's site. No, Bandits are at home. So Bandits are at home against the Mass Raiders. Let's see how they do. Then you got, Admirals at home, Shamrocks, Keller Field. 1 point, I think 1 point win for the Admirals. Maybe a touchdown, late touchdown for the Admirals. It's definitely gonna be close. Maybe a field goal. 7 o'clock, you got the Panthers Rebels. Listen, that's the rivalry game of the year right now for me. Like that, between the Admirals and the Shamrocks and the Panthers and Rebels, that's the rivalry game of the year. The Militia Mustangs is gonna be a rivalry game as well. I'm playing in that game. It's gonna be a hard hitting game. I know it. They talking crazy smack. I'm saying that they're a good team, but I'm bringing all I got tomorrow. So you got GSD Oilers tomorrow. You got Generals versus the Titans. Good luck to the Generals. They got that first game at Derby High. Beautiful facility. You got the Hitmen Mill City at Jill Stadium. Beautiful complex. And then in the coast, you got the Bruins taking on the Raptors. That's a great game. That's a statement game for both teams. The Black Panthers taking on the Thundercats. That's a statement game for both teams. Playing at American International College, AIC. That's a huge game. Then you got Badgers taking on the Flyers. The Flyers really could come out and put up like 70 and just make that claim. Like, listen, we here again. And then the Lightning taking on the Ravens. The Ravens get a chance to tune up and get ready for the season. So I think tomorrow is an excellent day for football. It's an excellent day for the ECFL. It should all go crazy. But really quickly, we wanted to have a quick conversation where we talk about competition. Since we're talking about 1A, 2A, and 3A, and we're talking about the movement, especially in 2A, you got 3 AAA teams that move down. You got a smaller AAA conference. And then when you look at single A, there's so many teams in single A. The question is, are teams scared or are they smart? And Mike, you came back at the perfect time. Appreciate you coming back at the perfect time.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't cry.
It's all right, man. Because the question really is, like, for years, people said, all right, the Hartford Rebels, for instance, I think they made it to back-to-back championships in AAA. They lost within like one score both times. And then they dropped down to AA and they ran the gambit until the Bulls finally got it together and put together something that they couldn't beat.
Mm-hmm.
And people used to say, listen, the Rebels just won a chip. Like, they just won a championship. They know they can't do it at AAA because they can't get past the top tier teams. And now we're starting to see a lot of teams, instead of going up and competing, they're going down to try to win a chip. Is that the case? Is it that teams are scared to play better teams, or is it smart because, hey, let me get my championship while I can?
I think it's a mixture of both, on the aspect of you have a good enough team that you know you're going to be able to compete or dominate in the lower level, and you have a good enough team to where you can compete in the higher level. Can you hear me?
Yep. I hear you. Oh, Mike couldn't hear us, so he had to back up. Let me take them off. I like to disagree with Mike. I say these motherfuckers is scared. They scary. They terrified. They know they can't go out and shock the world. And because they know they can't go out and shock the world, they rather go down and play 5 or 6 games out the year where they put 45 on a team and only play maybe 2, 3 games that's actually competitive. I'm gonna be healthier. I'm gonna be able to test out things throughout the season. So if I want to work on a new play or a new scheme or a new formation, I'm gonna have the time to do it. And I think these teams also
I
feel like because they have more time to get ready and prepare, that they'll be able to put together a better product at the end of the season, and they'll be able to steal a championship. I think they are. I think they scared. I think they scared of competition because if I play better competition, I run the risk of getting hurt more often. I might lose my better players. Number two, every game is going to be a tough game, so I'm never going to be able to just try something out. You know what I'm saying? I'm never going to be able to. I'm never going to be able to put in new formations in the game and try a new kid at a new position. I'm never going to be able to just throw like the young 20-year-old guy in that guard, because if I throw him in that guard, I might get my quarterback killed playing in AAA. But at least in single A, if I throw a 20-year-old kid in that guard in single A, he'd be able to hold his own. You know what I'm saying? Even if he gives up a play or two. I think teams are just afraid, and they're afraid to play against better competition.
Did you hear anything I said?
I can hear you.
No, I'm saying, did you hear anything I said before?
I heard you. I heard you the whole time.
Oh, you did? Oh,
yeah.
Because it's going black, and then I can't hear anybody, and then I'm like, all right. But I think what I said prior, before I left and then came back 3 times, was I think it's a mixture of both, but I think that I think it needs to stop. I mean, I think that it's one of those things where, yeah, you're as an owner, I'd rather lose every game than go backwards. And that's just me. That doesn't mean I'm right or wrong. Me as an owner, and I at one point was, and that's why I'm no longer an owner, is that I didn't agree with what direction the team was going. And I didn't feel like my input was being utilized, so I just bounced out because I was playing anyway.
Right.
But I feel like a lot of times certain owners, I think certain owners like, I know LB gets a lot of shit. On Thundercats. I know LB gets a lot of shit because he does have a team. He did win a championship. He stayed. But LB does make a valid point in the aspect of he might have had a championship team, but then, you know, those guys either left and now he doesn't have that team anymore. So yes, my team won the championship, but I'm not a AA or a AAA team. I'm still a single A team because I'm rebuilding again. So like
I
don't
agree with that, man. I just don't. I don't agree with that because you won a championship. Whether your team is as good or not, you go ahead and you step up, and you
I agree.
take on a challenge as an owner to recruit. You lose guys, you bring in better ones. You're a champion.
I agree. I'm not saying I don't agree with you, but like, say last year, me and you, or the Vipers won. Say we won the championship, and then all of you leave and go to AAA. You know, like, I'm sure me and the other owners would have had been like, well, what do we do? Like, we don't have.
You know what you do? You know what you do?
I know what I do.
You got a brand new Valley Generals team that's in AA. You recruit all of those guys.
Yeah.
And if that Valley Generals team wants to be a team so badly, you find a way to merge with them. You find a way to bring them into your organization. You have to be businessmen. You gotta do that. So what? You lose your roster. What? I brought this up the other day. I said, so if the Shamrocks was to lose half their roster overnight and half of their coaches retire, what are they supposed to drop to single A?
No,
No.
they can't. They have too much notoriety.
Exactly. They got to continue to build. That ship can't sink. That ship can't stop. It can't go down. They got to continue what they did. But that's because that organization feels that way. It's the same thing with the Long Island Eagles. The organization is built strong from the top. No matter what happens to that roster, they rebuild it every single year because these teams are not afraid.
And I think when me and you talk about this, a lot of the times it's not the players, it's strictly the owners. You know, most of the time, if you talk to anybody, and I mean, I'm gonna get some shit for this comment, but in most of the time, most people in A, AA, and AAA, the players themselves, will never really admit to what level of play they actually are. You know, like, huh?
I said, of course.
You know what I mean? So, like, there might be a couple. There might be like that 1% of guys that's like, listen, I know I can't compete in AA. You know, I know I'm a single A player. And then you might have a guy who played single A, who then maybe had a couple plays in AA, and then somehow, some way got onto a AAA team, and now feels that he's a AAA player when he really is all along a single A player.
Know a couple of them dudes.
You know what I mean? So it's like
a couple of them dudes.
You know, so you have that. So my whole point is, when me and you were talking about this conversation, we're talking more about the ownership and not the players themselves, because the players have no say. Some players do. I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of players have to say where they're going to go. And some owners do give players a little bit of leeway, because they know that if they say, hey, we're staying in AAA or I'm moving, some of those players will say, no, I'm not doing it, or I'm not going, or if you go down, I'm going to leave.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, the players got to understand we really are the ones in control. You know what I'm saying? A team can go and sit in an owners meeting and say, Jim, I'm not going to AA. I'm staying in single A. I'm not doing it. But that team is no longer a team when every person on that roster walks away.
Right.
And go plays for somebody else. Now he has to go back to Jim and say, Jim, I'm so sorry, but I'm going to lose my entire roster if I don't go to AA. So can you please fit me into the schedule? You don't got a choice. It's either that or pack it the fuck up. So, like, players got to understand how much power they really have. The problem is players don't understand that. Some of these players are, like you said, single A guys playing on AA teams that really ain't going to get a real shot. They really not going to get a crack at being a starter. And when the team says, yo, I want to stay single A, they like, that was a close one. I almost rolled the bench. I almost rolled the bench. Hell yeah, you right, owner. You right. You right. Yeah, we should stay single A. Oh, let's go get this chip. Meanwhile, the better players in the team is looking around like, yo, y'all niggas suck. What's up with you? What's up with you?
And I'm saying that from what I've seen the last 3 years. I'm not saying that for the team that I had, because a majority of the guys, the team that we had on the Vipers, when the other owners said that they wanted to go and stay in single A, they were pissed.
We was pissed. We came in with that goal.
You know what I mean? And what a lot of people don't realize with the Viper debacle, because it really wasn't talked about much because other things happened that got overshined.
Facts.
Really, what people don't understand is the Gems, to those guys' credit for keeping that team intact and making a team, you know, those guys weren't really given an option to leave. So, you know, when that whole situation of, hey, we're going to single A, and I left and a couple other players left, those other guys kind of felt like, I mean, let's be real. The Vipers, or now the Gems, have a very good collective group of shit talkers on the forums. so
in the business.
Yeah, no, I know. But when you talk a lot of shit and then your team decides to go to single A or stay single A or bounce to triple A, then go back to single A, and then all of a sudden 50% of your team leaves and you're one of the main focal point guys, I understood those guys staying. Like, I understood them being like, I can't go anywhere without looking stupid. You know, like, I have to stay. I have to stay here because I can't bounce. So, like, I understood. Huh?
Thunder pussies.
So, yeah, like, I understood it though. Like, I understood, like, I can't bounce. I got to stay here. I got to ride this ship. All right.
All right. So what about this?
Go ahead. What's that? Is that the NFL established thing?
What about this? What about a redirection of the ECFL?
Let me look at it. Hold on.
Teams are so goddamn scared to play each other. Yo, let's get rid of the single A, get rid of the double A, get rid of the triple A. Since Jim Harmon's claim is that I don't rank the teams. I don't put them in divisions. They put themselves in divisions. I don't call you single A. The Coast Division could call themselves triple A. I just call you the Coast. All right, so since that's how you feel, let's get rid of all of it. And let's just put the teams in divisions, make the teams in the divisions play each other twice a year. Put together a 10-game, well, since you got a spring now, right, ECFL, since you got a spring, why don't you just extend the season?
Is that everybody?
That's everybody. Make it a 14-game.
Man, I feel so bad for the Lightning.
Make it a 14-game season. The Lightning would get fucking obliterated, 14-0. 0-14. They get obliterated. But listen, why not do it? Well, what's holding us back? What's holding us back? And the way we put this together, every single division has a really good team in it, a solid team, and a team that probably won't do so well.
But then again, you think about it, man. That team might do well. You never know. Here's the thing, too. This is you're probably going to disagree with me on this, but I'm going to say it anyway. If some of these single A teams had to play up to some of these other teams, like, they might find that with the right coaching, some of these players that are, you know, taking it easy and not pushing themselves, like, you might find a diamond in the rough and all of a sudden have an actually competitive team that can compete. You know, like.
All right. So, for instance, we're going to get off the CT Lightning's back. We're not going to beat on the Badgers too much. Let's talk about the Bruins. So, in the NFC South, it would be the Bruins, Generals, and Mustangs, right?
Yep.
If the Bruins had to play the Generals twice, the Mustangs twice, they also had to play the Hartford Rebels, the Mill City Eagles, the Northeast Black Panthers, and the Golden Badgers. And then they also had to play the Marshfield Hurricanes and the CT Militia.
Okay.
That was the full schedule. I think you would find that a lot of those guys that are playing on the Gators and the LAL that are sitting on a bench who are still friends with the guys who are former Gators, former Patriots that are on the Bruins. I think a lot of those guys will come over to the Bruins that are currently not playing on the Bruins. Why? There's a huge name in the LAL with the teams that you play. You play the Seminoles, you play the Long Island Red Raiders, and you play all these big teams. You know what I'm saying? I think they got the Herd in there too. There's a couple big teams over there. I think some of those guys would feel a lot more confident playing in the ECFL, playing for the Bruins, if this was the format. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
Get a lot more respect. You know what I'm saying? And the other thing too is the CT Lightning, would they even be a team? I don't think so.
I mean, they may have. Yeah, they probably have to. They have to
I don't
merge.
think they would be a team. And if they was a team, they wouldn't be the CT Lightning that we know. You know what I'm saying? Would the Badgers be a team if they had to play the Western Mass Raiders and the Black East Panthers 4 times? and then turned around and had to play the Mustangs, and then turned around and had to play the Rebels, and then had to travel to the Shamrocks, and then they had to play the Hurricanes. I don't think the Badgers would be a team.
No.
I think you would have better organizations coming in. I think if you knew that coming into the ECFL, you had to be an NEFL champion to even compete.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You had to come in with a well put together roster with for real coaches. You had to practice twice a week to even compete. I think we don't even see these types of teams. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, I think Jim's already got that plan in place where he's going to start bringing in other players to other teams for next year, obviously.
I think it's hard to do that when the system that you have right now, with the way that the teams are divided, I think.
All right, let me ask you this question. I'm going to play.
I'm just going to finish my thought, though. I think it's easier. I think it's easier for competitive teams. Let's take the militia, for example. The CT militia, we had a very tough time as an organization. I'm not speaking for the organization. This is from a player looking in, right? We had a very tough time pulling in top talent because it was easier for top talent to go to the Mustangs, to go to the Panthers, to go to the fucking Shamrocks before come to a brand new AAA team. Because AAA is so top heavy, it's so weighted that I got a better chance just joining one of these teams than I do going to a brand new team. So it makes it very difficult the way that it is now to enter at the top level. It makes it very easy to enter at the bottom. It's super easy to put a single A team into the ECFL. It's super easy.
I'll tell you how easy.
It's so hard to put a AAA team in.
I will tell you how easy it is to write. Well, I mean, if you really want to know how easy it is to put a team in the single A, it's you pay $750 and you give them a piece of paper that tells you your team's name. That's really good. I mean, there might be more to it now, and Jim might come at me for that, but I mean, it's up to him to decline or accept that team.
Listen, he had a chance to come onto our show and answer the questions and explain himself, and he decided to go on vacation after telling me a week prior that he wasn't going to be doing anything that was good. Jim skipped out on his opportunity to defend himself, so I'm going to say what I got to say.
So let me ask you this question. Do you think that the format given right now that the ECFL has, do you think that helps out the Massachusetts teams more than it does the Connecticut teams? Because let's be real, on all these formats we have, all these podcasts we all see and all that stuff, the one thing that we're always told, or the one thing that's always being said, is that the Mass teams got it easy. And Mass will say, well, that's because Connecticut, you guys are divided, which is not wrong either. Connecticut, we go against each other all the time.
But they do too.
Sure they do.
Here's what I think. I think it's deeper than the format. I think they have the sliders weighted towards them a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, Jim went into the Madden sliders and pushed it a little bit to the Mass teams a little bit. I think when you see these live streams, they're not bipartisan. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not taking no sides. A lot of these live streamers and these photographers and all these people, these podcasts, they're Mass people. They're Mass guys. They're coming for the Mass team.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're from the Boston area. I think that the league itself feels like the better teams are in Mass. Thus, the product is better in Mass. So we're going to make sure that Mass is happy. I think that's the reason why the Seminoles in a New York league within the ECFL is not even a conversation. At a point it was. There was supposed to be a conference just for New York and New Jersey. And then they were supposed to have this big game at the end of the year where the South Conference played the North Conference. And for whatever reason, Jim found it easier or more appealing and attractive to go all the way down to Georgia, Alabama, Tennessee, than to go right to New York, where there's competition at the level of the Shamrocks. There's competition at the level of the Mustangs. It's competition at the level of the Panthers. There's competition right there in Jersey and New York, but he won't touch it. And I think that's to keep. I think that's to keep the mass guys happy.
Is that also because of Patterson?
I think it's to keep the mass guys happy.
Okay. I was just asking.
I don't think the Shams would have a good time if they had to play the Admirals and the Knowles and the former New York Rebels all in the same season. I don't think they would be very happy about that.
Fucking
It's
New
too
York.
much. It's too much volatility in my road to the national championship.
Yeah.
It's in my way now.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. I don't get that because I come from
the way that the schedule is, the way it's set up right now, if the Shams get past the Admirals, they go into the national championship, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I want to upset that? Because after that, I'm on my way.
Yeah.
So it's this. We see the same thing. This is why teams defect from AAA to AA. Because if I'm a competitive team like the Rebels was, like GSD, if I'm a competitive team in AAA and I defect to AA, once I get past the Hitmen, I'm on my way to a national championship.
Mm-hmm.
Single A. Once I get past the Flyers, there's no, I got to get past the Flyers and I got to get past the Hitmen and I got to get past the Admirals.
Mm-hmm.
There's none of that in this league. And this league is, we're going to break everybody up and we're going to make it where if you can get past that one or two teams, you're good. Instead of you got to get past all of the good teams. Mm-hmm. And then you.
So I come from a different era. So for me, I mean, I'll play anybody you put in front of us. I didn't, especially the teams that I played on, which we've already beaten a dead horse with how many teams I played for. But those teams, our mindset was, you put whoever's in front of us, and if we win, we continue to win. If we lose, then it wasn't meant for us. That national championship. Hey, if we lost to a team, not even just lost to a team for a natty, if we lost to a team and we lost, then shit, we're not as good as we thought we were. That's kind of how we were, and that's exactly how we were. And that's why if you look at our records, I mean, over like a fucking 5-year span, I think we were like 50-2.
Yep.
Yep.
And not for nothing, the Shams have probably the same record. They probably 50-2 over the last 3 years. The Admirals are probably 48-4 over the last 3 years. You know what I'm saying? But they only lose into teams that's on their level. I think the difference is, I don't really know, but I can talk from what we've talked about. I think the difference is there was a lot less teams. There was a lot less leagues.
There was. Again, my time frame of playing was a different time. A different time in a lot of ways. I mean, we played, I think there was only 3 Connecticut teams. I don't even know. I think Mass had maybe 2 or 3 of them themselves. You know what I mean? New York had all the teams. It was New York and New Jersey and Pennsylvania that had all the teams. Mass and Connecticut didn't have shit. And maybe New Hampshire, I think Granite State might have been there, but they might have been a different name. And maybe a Boston team. Because,
probably one Rhode Island team.
But yeah. But you know what I mean? But the teams that weren't Connecticut weren't on our level. There was the Hartford Chiefs, Connecticut Chiefs. There was Connecticut Chiefs. Connecticut Chiefs, we every time we played them, we beat them bad. So, so we played a lot of New York teams. New York Rebels was one team. Seminoles, but the Seminoles were in their infancy.
Right.
We played Long Island a lot. There's a lot of Long Island teams we played too.
Probably what's the team from Long Island that was really good? Venom? Was it the Venom?
We played the Syracuse team. We played the Syracuse team up in
the NFL team, the Strong.
And then we played teams out in Baltimore. You know, I mean, I traveled all the way. Yeah, shit out of Baltimore.
I mean, we took our time and we did some ratings. We took our time and our conversating to get the show ready, and we just went through it real quick and did ratings for the team's preseason. We'll probably update this as it goes along, but the point of this is really to show that the competition level would actually be fairly close.
Except for like 2 teams.
It'd actually be fairly close within the divisions. Yeah, you would get teams that would dominate. They would dominate. But on the field, you would actually have a lot more close games. And this would be a much easier system to divide those close games by schedule. You could even start to make rivalries out of this and things like that. So, like, we're going to beat this idea into your head. The NFL is professional. They've already figured out what it takes to be successful, to make things interesting. It's a entertainment product. It's not a sport product. It's an entertainment product. They figured out how to make football entertaining. Why are we trying to do it any differently?
No, I mean, dude, with everything hey, with everything that we have in the grasp of our hands, whether it's social media, podcasts, photography, videos, all that stuff, you can market the shit out of things. There's no reason why a team can't market itself.
No reason.
If you,
I'm
not saying that. If you, as a semi-pro football player, can market yourself, a team can do it.
A team can do it. A team can definitely do it. And I mean, look at the Admirals. You know what I'm saying? 96 overall.
Mm-hmm.
But you telling me that a 93 Boston Bandits can't catch them sleeping?
Mm-hmm.
You telling me an 89 Marshfield Hurricanes can't catch them sleeping? An 87 Hitmen can't catch them sleeping? That's the hell. Yeah, they can catch them sleeping. But they'll never catch them sleeping if they never got to play him.
That's true. That's true. I will say this, though. I really would like any player on the Connecticut Lightning to hit us up. Because I'd like to know. Not because I know it sounds like we're picking on them, but like the product. You guys are putting out that product that makes us say 59.
Like I said and earlier in the show, the Lightning needs to start at the organization. They need to find a serious, renowned, football knowledgeable head coach.
Mm-hmm.
A guy that knows football, that knows how to practice, that knows how to train, that knows how to call plays and run a program, that's willing to take his career into semi-pro, because what they need is direction.
Knows how to recruit.
If they start there with a guy that can coach football, and they can get out there and they can have good hand placement, good movement, and they can run plays that look good. They look like plays. They're on time.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, if you running routes and the route is right, you just too slow to get open. The ball is just off accurate. As a football player, I can see that. Yeah. I can see that this is a well-coached team that doesn't have talent. Right now, y'all don't look like a football team.
Where are the Lightning playing tomorrow? Not to
Lightning
screw up what we're doing here, but I'm just curious who they're playing and where they're playing.
They're playing Rhodey Ravens at Pierce Memorial Field in Rhode Island.
Never mind. I was going to see if I can go to that game.
Yeah. Then they playing at home at Tolland High School, 6:24 against the Golden Badgers. Tolland High School's out there though. Tolland is.
When? Well, I work in Manchester. That's right next door to it. But when do they play the Gems? Do they play the Gems?
I just want to see what top. Yeah, it's an hour and 8 minutes from me. I'm in Woodbury, Connecticut. They play the Gems August 12th, 6 p.m. at Southington High School. Ooh, I want to go to that, but I got a game.
I can make it to that game. I'll go to that game.
Put that on your calendar. Make sure you go to that. August 12th. Who do I play and when do I play them? It'd be fun to go to that. August 12th, I play the Panthers at New Milford High at home. Oh, we got 4 home games in a row. That's nice.
That's good.
Rebels, Shamrocks, Panthers, Bandits. Oh,
I'm gonna try to get to a couple of games this year, everywhere. Like break it out. Try to go to a couple games, all the places.
yeah, that'd be dope. Listen, that's the whole point. The point is, why be scared? Look at the Madden ratings, man. Look at the ratings. We not bad at this. We all right at this rating stuff, man. We all right at this calling game scores and stuff. You know what I'm saying? I got to put out a post. I got to go back and got to look at all the games that we called versus the actual scores. I'm gonna take some time and do that over the next week and show you guys we not bad at this. Why be scared? This could work.
No, I think it would work. I think it'd be fun. Honestly, though, I think a format in that manner would add a lot more. Not solidarity. What's the word I'm looking for? Just it would add more competition.
Competition.
I think it would make the ECFL kind of what you see in other teams in New York.
Yeah.
You know, like
I think all right, so look at it, right? So if I'm the Randolph Oilers in the NFC North and I lose, but GSD goes to the playoffs, I'm promoting GSD.
mm-hmm.
I want GSD to win. You know why? Because I lost to them twice. If they win, I look good. If they lose, I look like shit.
It's that old adage. If you're in the NFL and you lose the AFC Championship game or the NFC Championship game, but that team wins the Super Bowl, you don't feel so bad about that loss.
Yep. You now the second best team, technically.
Right. You lost to the champs. So you're like, all right, you know what? At least we lost to the champions.
Yeah, I was so surprised last year when the Hitmen won it all.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized that the first time we played them, we lost by 1.
Mm-hmm.
And the second time we played them, we lost by a touchdown. And
Mm-hmm.
it was only because we was missing like 30% of our team. I
Mm-hmm.
was like, oh, damn. All right. Yeah, we are pretty damn good, huh?
And then no, and that's something. I think eventually we have to get certain people on this podcast and kind of talk about what we could have been on the Vipers.
Guys, listen, I'm putting all this work in, you putting all this work in. We got the graphics, we got the videos. Like we could do a lot. Guys gotta tune in, man. Guys gotta be willing to support what's supporting them at the end of the day. So listen, I think you would see, especially because here's the big thing for me. If you look at the conference, the way that we put it together, it's not Mass versus Connecticut. And the NFC has both Mass and Connecticut teams in it. The AFC has both Mass and Connecticut and Rhode Island. You know what I'm saying? So it's no longer like, oh, because I'm the Admirals, if I don't make it, then all right, I'm going for the Shams. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, we all in the AFC. You know what I'm saying? If the CT Militia wins or the Sullenting Gems put it together and they win, or the Marshford Hurricanes, like none of those teams are in Mass, but we're in the AFC together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know, and I think the other thing too is people have to start getting like certain people, like we all play football because we love the game.
Yeah.
Some of us, you know, obviously some of us played at higher levels and some of us played high school levels, but even high school, I mean, if you're from Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York, you traveled to play other high schools. So like, I personally don't understand the whole like bitching about traveling to go play a football game, either in another state or a local town that's not as close as your town. Like that baffles me that guys still like bitch about that.
We got some of the wrong guys at this level. Let's just be honest. We got some guys playing at this level that probably should have never played after high school, but they have the ability to play and now they're getting the chance to play. All right, let's go to the last topic before we call it a night. Let's talk about the goddamn commissioners one more time. One more time.
We talking about civic commissioner one more time? We talking about?
Let's talk about the commissioner specifically. So I'm not going to start negatively. I'm going to start positively. Nah, fuck that. I'm going to end positively. Let's start negatively.
Okay.
I like Jim.
Yeah, I have no
like
problem.
I don't got a problem with him. But there's times where I don't like Jim.
I think every player in the ECFL. I think every player in the ECFL has the exact same way you're thinking.
So you built out something as close to minor league football as you can get in New England. Mm-hmm. You built out something that started to take on the shape of the NFL. You built something that has a 10-time national champion in your league. But you can force teams to get huddled. You can't force teams to use an NFL ball. Mm-hmm. You can force players to abide by their contract. But when a player gets into an issue with an owner, you say, y'all guys got to handle that. You can say, all right, I'll help out with getting the field. We're going to get a neutral site. We got a Boston team and we got a Connecticut team. The neutral site is in Boston.
Later.
You can make sure that there's refs for every game in Mass. But when it comes to games in Connecticut, you guys got to get your own refs. All right, I'll get refs for you. And then call up the Panthers and go, yo, you guys got refs? Can you make sure that the refs get to this game? Hang up, and that's the end of it. If they show up, they show up. If they don't, they don't. Mm-hmm. Now listen, Jim might get on Facebook in the next couple of days. Mike mentioned this. Jim might get on Facebook in the next couple of days after he has his lawyers watch this. Send me a cease and desist and tell me I'm lying and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about and players this and guys that don't even pay their fucking dues. But Jim had an opportunity to answer every question, to defend himself, defend his league, and he didn't do it. He bowed out. I'm going to tell y'all something. A little birdie told me that Jim is piggy banking some of his teams to make sure they get to nationals. He dropping coin.
That's not that.
Then he gets on Facebook and he takes his best Karen impression and pulls out his red paint and throws paint on everybody that don't say, I love you, Jim. I love the ECFL. You guys are the best. He throws paint at everybody he can. Meanwhile, he takes teams from everyone that he throws paint on. He'll throw paint all over the IFA and take the whole IFA's Northern Division. He'll throw paint all over the Den, but if all the Den teams said that they wanted to come to the ECFL, he'll make an ECFL Den conference. He'll add those teams on the ECFL website tonight before they ever sign a contract, before they give dues.
Yeah.
So again, I like Jim.
The thing is, though, is that, as you know, I worked with Jim because I was an owner. To be fair to Jim, there's certain things I don't know are truth or not truth because of the other owner on who he was. So there was a lot of things that were always said and done that I, to this day, don't know what was true and what wasn't true between the two. But you'll get half-truths and not half-truths between things. And then Jim will come out, like you said, Jim comes up on Facebook, starts throwing shade. And then as soon as it gets a little heated, Jim will say, you know what, I'm done with this shit. I'm out of this.
So let me ask you a question. Is that not the mark of a bad commissioner? Because a commissioner should help to create bylaws, rules,
I think
policy that removes doubt.
So I do think Jim's a good commissioner. And here's why. I think Jim has a good product. I think the ECFL is trending in the right direction. I think a lot of that is Jim's doing. You are correct. There are a couple of teams in the ECFL that benefit way more, at least from the outside looking in. If Jim comes on here at one point, or even if he watches this and we have 48 comments later on where he says, show me proof of that, show me proof of that. But truthfully, I can't show you proof of it. But from the outside looking in, it looks that way. Some of the points that you made. I mean, we played a game against the Hitmen, and there were a couple of calls that came out of nowhere. And not saying that you told the referees to throw those flags, but, like, there's some fucking calls that are made sometimes that benefit the other team at the weirdest times. And
Tar Heels playing the Thundercats. Thundercats have no offense. Tar Heels Thundercats is a single A. The double A championship game with the Rebels and the Bulls was played first.
Fucked up the field.
Mm-hmm. And then our best performing defensive player from New York, who was very vocal about his feelings on the ECFL and Jim Harmon specifically, catches one pick, they throw a flag. Catches another pick, they throw 2 flags, kick him out the game.
Why?
Me. Every single carry I got more than 5 yards, they threw a holding flag.
Oh, I know that one.
Every single carry that I got more than 5 yards, they threw a holding flag. And you can see on tape that the flag comes out after I break 5 yards.
And there were times last year, and like I said, I'm not saying this was Jim. But whenever we got heated in the Vipers organization with Jim, or we changed our minds and stuff like that, that game that we played next, even though we won those games,
it was nasty.
There were calls where I'm like,
it was what the fuck.
Case in point, that Hitman game. So you remember this. The Rebels game, Dave Harris breaks out for a touchdown, and he gives Tyreek Hill. We played the Hitman the following week, and immediately, as soon as he put that deuce up, 5 flags came flying out. Like that, there was 5 flags hitting that ground before he put his hand back into a fist and started running. Following week, we play the Hitmen. They do it back to us. No flags. Not one flag is thrown.
Not a single flag.
I looked at Brian and said, if you don't fucking go up there and talk to Jim right now, and that touchdown counts, I'm going to flip the fuck out.
Jim is in-house. He is literally on the camera. He watches it happen and transpire after we had a whole huge deal. You guys made a huge deal about that because you said, how could this guy's touchdown be called away for a deuce? Tyreek Hill, something that's done in the NFL, and Jim made a standard. He went out on Facebook that week. And he said, guys, it's the NFL. I get it, but we don't accept that. This is the rule. You cannot do it. He's sitting at our game on the camera, watching it happen. Doesn't say a fucking word.
And that went on for 30 minutes.
You're not going to tell me that this guy is totally in the middle and doesn't really care either way, just wants to see good football. You're not going to tell me that. You're not going to tell me that he doesn't favor his Massachusetts teams over his Connecticut team. You're not going to tell me that. What I will say is that primarily it's the Connecticut teams folding. it's primarily those teams that's probably funding that extra money at the end of the year to make certain things happen. Because if that team folds now, a lot of those league costs for that team go away.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if they never even made it to the season. You give me your 750 and you never even make it to the season, and I'm not liable to refund you. Thank you. Thank you for the free 750.
Exactly.
Come on, man.
And like I said, I know there's other commissioners. You know, Jim's not the major commissioner, but certain things line up in certain ways.
So let's talk about a good commissioner.
Hold on. Before we get on that, even this past, how many times did I say Jim was going to try to fuck us in the Falcon Hitman or the Falcon Warhawks game?
Over and over and over again, and I agreed with you.
I'm like, dude,
he had to play them in mass.
Yeah, I'm like, they're going to load up. He wanted to beat us, and we beat them, and then they imploded in front of us, which wasn't a good look either.
That's what happens when you load up.
But
you load up on a team and you still can't beat them. It's like, yo, what the?
Mm-hmm. I mean, the game was still tough. Don't get me wrong, but there were a lot of new, fresh faces on there, and I get it. That wasn't part of the rule, or that was part of the rule. They could do that because they weren't an IFA team. But I remember saying, as soon as I got hooked up and we had the place to play, I'm like, if you don't think Jim is looking for us to get destroyed by his new ECFL team, you're out your mind, guys. Like, you're out your mind. And we're in his backyard. You know?
He was at his field. Jim loves that field.
Hmm?
The Pavilion, the field at the Pavilion. That's Jim's place. So we was in his backyard, literally. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's talk about, before we get out of here, let's talk about a good commissioner. So you got Slip and the Den, right? Mm-hmm. Slip has a debacle. Bill's supposed to be paid for film. Bill is not paid. The accountant was only supposed to get to a certain point. Things that were supposed to happen didn't happen. Boom. Slip doesn't run from it. He doesn't hide from it. He gets out on Facebook. He goes live the day of. He says, listen, this is the truth. This is what happened. This is it. I'm going to fix it. Has it fixed before the day is over. Everybody's happy again. Slip sees a problem. He makes a rule. He addresses it. He takes ownership, gets the shit back on board, gets everything going in the right direction. Move on. Like that. Say it again?
Does he favor any teams?
Okay. The game with the Hitmen and the Owls. Prior to it happening, you could see the direction that things was going. Everybody knew what was going to happen. The Hitman says, if we play again, we playing at this site. It's far as fuck. We letting you know now. We don't want to play there, blah, blah, blah. We don't want to play there. We don't want to play there. We don't want to play there. You know what Slip does? Sticks to his fucking word. We agreed that we're going to play here. This team is hosting. This is where they're hosting it. Sorry, but you got to take the trip. By the way, it's a beautiful fucking facility. Are you serious? Why are you arguing about this? Take the trip. Not, oh, you know what, Hitman, I get it, but maybe we need to play at a neutral site. Let's put a neutral site in Camden. Now you gotta drive 3 hours and they only gotta drive 30 minutes. Which is similar to something that y'all get the point.
Yeah.
Y'all get the point. No, that man said, I'm standing on what we agreed on. These are the rules. They host, they go. You know another commissioner that did that? David Patterson. Listen, the Chargers is hosting. I'm sorry, it's a shitty field. There's no chains. It is what it is. This year, the Falcons are hosting. So what? They the team. So what? They the team to beat. They hosting.
Yeah, he was professional with us.
Absolutely professional, and nothing was done. We had to get the chains. We had to get security. We had to do all of that. He never changed. It doesn't matter that his Patriots are in the game or not.
The only thing that he did was he was on our sidelines the entire game.
That's it.
That was it.
That's it. But if you go back and you watch the tape from the first time we played the Patriots, he was on the sideline in the end zone that entire game.
Mm-hmm.
And I was personally at his game versus the Demon Knights IFA-TFL. He was on their sideline in the end zone all over the place that entire game. He was a man of his word. He did what he said he was going to do. You know what I'm saying? And win, lose, or draw. And this is a man who owns a team in his own league.
Yeah.
And he stays the fuck out of it.
Not only that, he owns a team that was in the championship game.
And he stays the fuck out of it. Now, granted, I will say last year, he got a little chippy and he got a little upset on the sideline, but he was coaching.
Okay.
That was too much of a conflict of interest. And even he had to acknowledge that. And he acknowledged that. And he went out and he hired a coach. And he stepped the fuck off the sideline and he stayed off the sideline. So he stayed on our sideline so that he could stay off his own, so that he doesn't get too involved.
Mm-hmm.
But Jim, at the Warhawks game, where was Jim? Before the game started, he was on our sideline talking shit, laughing, ha-ha, hee-heeing. The game started.
He's on their side.
You would have thought he was a fucking coach.
Yeah, he was over there.
You would have thought he was a coach.
The only thing that he did do was he did have those guys removed.
He had to.
He did make
that.
He
was on live stream. He was on live TV watching one player duke it out with another. He had to.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right. I mean, listen, like I said, like I like Jim. I know we're talking about good commissioners. I do. I like Jim. I think Jim has some things he needs to work on. I think Jim needs to stay out of the Facebook chats. I mean, I think a good commissioner stays out of all the bullshit. You stay out. You don't see Roger Goodell, or at least I don't think I see Roger Goodell tweeting left and right, fucking against players and shit. Not pulling up fucking text messages and tweeting it. Granted, I know the NFL to semi-pro football is a leap and bound different.
Because you got Slip who responds in the Den Lounge. You got Dave Patterson who responds in every fucking lounge. It don't matter what lounge. If you say something, Dave Patterson's gonna beat it. But they conduct themselves in a different manner.
It's not like go fuck yourself. It's more like
show me. Go fuck yourself. Who the fuck is this player? Who does he think he is? He's a small fry. He's an ant. I could squash you. It's more like Dave Patterson is more like, dude, know what you're talking about. Slip is more like, know what you're talking about. Here's the facts. I really don't care either way because I'm confident in myself. Dave Patterson is more like, shut up if you don't know what you're talking about. This is the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Jim is more like, and I'm gonna ruin you. Jim is very much a Karen. He's very much a Karen at times. I get it. Rich white men are normally Karens. You know?
I've never been rich. Can't say I've ever been rich. I don't know what that's like.
Listen, if you're watching this, you might think that I don't like Jim Harmon. I love Jim Harmon. I'm not gonna lie to you. Out of all the commissioners that I've ever been underneath, he is one of my favorites. He really is. But I think Jim has a lot of blind spots. There's a lot of weaknesses. And because of the product that he's put together, he's overconfident.
But I think, tell me if I'm wrong. You could tell me if I'm wrong. I think this year, a lot of that's starting to come out.
It definitely is. A lot of people are starting to see it. And now you're starting to see Jim's true alignment. He used to hide behind the whole, I'm a players commissioner and this is a players league. But this year, because he's spoken so much on so many player-focused topics and he's taken the side opposite of the players, you're starting to really see where he's aligned.
I mean, the whole players league thing, I know that's his bread and butter. This is a players league. But is it?
Huh? If it was a players league, the Vipers would have been double it.
I mean, true.
We spoke out. We told Jim as players. I'm gonna tell you from the captain's chat. From the captain's chat, we got together and we was like, nah, fuck no, we gotta make this happen. I personally spoke to Jim Harmon and told him, put us in AA. And Jim said, I got you. Confirmed. You guys are in AA.
And we were.
He knew what the players wanted.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a players league if you then turn around and talk to the owner and the owner says, no, I want single A. And you go, okay, fine.
Yeah.
If you're a players commissioner and it's a players league, at that junction, you were supposed to say, I need you and I need 2 or 3 captains to get on this call with me so we can figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't a players league.
Mm-hmm.
So owners league under the veil of a players league. And that right there, I got a problem. Don't lie to me.
No, listen. I didn't deal with Jim as an owner. I didn't deal with Jim a lot. There were certain things, or conversations I had. And like I said, I can't even say it was Jim or not Jim because I talked to one other person. I'm being told one thing. I called Jim back up. I'm being told another. And then we get on a 3-way and then both people deny what they said. And I'm the only one like, what? Like, wait a minute. What is?
You know what you got to do, right?
What is real right now?
You know what you got to start doing, right?
Recording it.
Hey Jim, what'd you say?
It's too late for me now. I'm just a retired. You know. Like, okay.
Speak. Say that one more time.
so like for instance, this is something that I don't understand, and I'm going to bring this attention up because if we had that 4-way podcast today, I was going to bring this up. So like Khalil Thomas, he played for the Vipers last year. He was our left tackle. A lot of players that were on the Vipers that left. Jim made it clear that if the players leave, they can only join AA, AAA. They can no longer go to another single A team and play against the Vipers. That rule I understood completely. Vipers fold. Now, I was told that if the Vipers folded, you can go back to single A. I had already signed with the Mustangs, so I wasn't going back to triple. I wasn't going back to single A. So now some of those players were going to go play AA or AAA, and they didn't. Like Khalil's one of them. He didn't sign. And now Khalil's being told Khalil wanted to go back to the Gems, play with his boys, because remember, his best friend and best man at his wedding is playing on that team.
Yep.
So he's going to go back to play with his boys. He can't play for them. And I'm like, why not? Oh, Jim said that there was a vote, owner's vote, and they voted no to certain players to go back to the Gems. I personally don't have all the details to like really, really know what happened. But if the Vipers folded, what's the fucking problem?
Again, is it a players league or is it an owners league?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Owners league.
You know, my thing.
Because if an organization that has a contractual agreement with you closes its doors, there's no longer a contractual agreement because one of the parties no longer exists.
Exactly.
So there's laws for it at the consumer level. If you pass away, your bills and debts become a part of your estate.
Right.
There should be some kind of laws in the ECFL for what happens if a team closes shop and its players are left over. An estate for the team.
Mm-hmm.
Their likeness, their name, the city, all of that. There should be some kind of laws there, right?
Well, yeah. And also think about it. Like there's people who pay their dues and then that team folds.
I'm gonna tell you this. You got dues, but you also have situations like what we saw with the Vipers, like what we saw with the Fire. You got an organization that has to close shop because of a violation of conduct detrimental to the league.
Mm-hmm.
That team right now, because there's no laws, can close its shop, reopen its shop with every single same person. The one guy that got in trouble could remove himself and replace himself with his wife.
Mm-hmm.
They can change their name and change their jersey colors and have the same roster and the same coaches and everything the same and play at the same site. They're the same fucking team.
Mm-hmm.
But there's nothing to stop that from happening right now.
That almost happened. You know, I mean, we knew somebody was out, but was he out?
So how the fuck do you enforce at the player level, but don't enforce at the owner level? Because the owners pay your bills. The players pay the owners' bills. The owners pay your bills. Okay. So it's an owners league. All right, just don't lie to me.
I just want Khalil to play.
Just don't lie to me. Because that right there, that solves your whole. Because if you know it's an owners league, once he says the owners voted, there's no more I want Khalil to play.
All right.
There's no more back and forth because now I understand. I need to go to each owner individually and petition to each owner, yo, I want Khalil to play. But we know that owners have their own goals.
Well, I know
their own reasons.
From what Khalil told me when he talked to Jim, he said that Jim said that Brian would have to release him.
Listen,
which I don't
know the truth. We know the truth. Khalil is 6'8". He's 330 pounds. And I taught the boy to play with an attitude.
And he's young.
I told him, look at every single player like he killed your cousin. And ever since then, the boy learned how to play with an attitude. And he probably had more pancakes other than you than anyone else in single A.
And
that's why they voted for him not to play.
Yeah, remember, Khalil's 22.
That's why they voted for him not to play. Because they saw the difference. They saw the difference when he was a part of the Vipers and when he left the Vipers. Mm-hmm. We had a strong offensive line when he was there. When he went and got married, we had some issues.
Yeah, we had a little bit of issues.
So come on. We know why they voted him out. And we know exactly why Jim is not going to overrule that shit and let him come back in and say, well, how do you say a guy that I excommunicated, that I kicked out of my league, has to release you? What power does he have to release you, to hold you? He's no longer a part of the league.
That made no sense to me.
The team doesn't exist.
And there might be Harlem and Coach Sal and Ryan Glasser may know more of those answers. I don't. I just know.
Listen, at the end of the day, if I'm a player in the NCAA and my school gets rid of the football team, I'm free to leave.
Mm-hmm.
If my high school football team, my high school closes, I'm free to leave. Mm-hmm. There's no restriction if I live in the city or if I live in the county. I'm free to leave because of extenuating circumstances. If the NFL, a team closes shop, they go bankrupt. All those players become free agents.
Mm-hmm.
How the fuck are you telling me that I can't play somewhere because that team folded?
Oh, I mean, hey, who knows?
I can't wear that jersey. I can't go out in the ECFL and put my Vipers jersey on and go play. So why am I stuck to my Vipers jersey?
I don't know. I feel bad because I mean I know I talked to him today and he said he's probably just gonna sit. He'll probably just sit 1 year, train, and then just come back next year.
22-year-old kid missing out on a year's worth of experience on football. Mm-hmm. He's gonna get a little rusty. Anybody that plays football knows you take a year off from football, you come back, the game is moving fast. Mm-hmm. It's sad.
Yeah. I mean, he's not the only one either. I think there's a couple other guys around the bubble.
So again, this is probably gonna be the last time I talk about it during this season. Definitely gonna talk about it more. But when you are the CEO and you're the head of the ship, You're in control of destinies. You know what I'm saying? You're in control of destinies. Like anybody who's played football will tell you that football has saved them from something.
Mhm.
And when you're at the head of the ship, you're in control of football saving that person. We
Yeah.
don't know what Khalil going through. We don't know what's happening in his life, but you're robbing him of the opportunity to get away from it.
And listen, man, I'm one of those people, and I'm just being dead honest. For me, I don't really suffer from depression and all that stuff, but football's one of those. Football's always been one of those things for me that it made me less mentally unstable. You know, like playing that game is what made me not go nuts. You know what I mean? So it's like some of these guys on these teams, you know as well as I know, a lot of the guys on these teams, if they don't have this, they're a whole different person.
I was a whole different person. I'm a financial advisor at one of the top 4 banks in the country. I live a solid life. I got decent money. It's all thanks to football. Because prior to that, I got kicked out of my city school system. They said you cannot go to school anywhere in the city, public or private. You gotta go. You a problem for society. Football saved me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So these guys gotta understand, like, as a commissioner, if you put together a solid enough product, this is what I'm trying to get through to people. As a commissioner, if you put together a solid enough product that you can get the attention of somebody big to look at your product and go, shit, that looks good. It looks like they're playing some good football. You've just given an opportunity to every Khalil that's 22 years old, might not even have a solid job yet, to go play football overseas, to potentially get picked up by a Division 2, Division 1 AA school that's hurting and needs somebody now. Even if it's a preferred walk-on. Do you know how big that is?
Mm-hmm.
To be a preferred walk-on at Central when you was just that kid working at McDonald's?
Dude, I mean, look at this, right? So I went to that thing today, the Bone in Springfield.
Mm-hmm.
So there's these kids wearing gray shirts, a bunch of white kids, and I mean, all of them are white, but they're killing it, and I mean, destroying these other kids. 2 of these kids that were DNs, I swear to God, it was Nick Bosa's like cousins. So finally, I go up to one of the other coaches there, and I was like, "Hey, how come these kids in the grays shirts, they don't have a number to like look them up?" Oh, those are all the international kids. And I'm like, oh, he goes, also, all those international kids are like 21, 22, 23 years old. Because over in the international, they can come over to the United States at 21, 22, 23, 24.
Still playing high school.
And go play freshman. Yeah. And well, not only that, go play freshman year college.
Yep.
And I'm like, oh, shit. So think about that. You got people now, I mean, even overseas is starting to not catch up to us. They're definitely leaps and bounds, but now even international now is starting to have a chance to take spots.
No, it's catching up. It is catching up. And that's a push. The NFL wants to do stuff like that. The NFL wants to reach out to the communities. It wants international players. It wants that. You know how much money the NFL would make if they had a semi-pro guy start on an NFL roster? You remember that story of the guy who lied that he knew one of the executives at the Browns and got a tryout and actually made a team?
Yeah.
You know how much that was in every newspaper across the country. The NFL loves that.
Mm-hmm.
The NFL they need that. So as a commissioner, you gotta understand your real role and responsibility. Your real role and responsibility goes so much further than whether or not your top team wins another championship. It goes so much deeper than whether or not a guy is happy about what team he plays on. Your real responsibility is growing a product so that you could be a pigment in your community. so that you can be a place where the kid that doesn't make it can make it. The coach that got declined for the job can prove he knows what the hell he's doing. For a guy to prove that he knows how to scout talent, that's your real role as a commissioner, to create something that's respectable, that's worthy of playing for. Not to create a status quo and just keep it pushing. So I'm gonna jump off my high horse now. All I'm gonna say is this is not the last time I'm gonna talk about it. And as far as commissioners go, I may be I may be I may be a reasonable guy and I may try to big up people. There may be times where I know a guy is not that talented, but I'll say, listen, he probably could play at the next level. But the one place that I'm never going to skip out on is at the commissioner level, because as a CEO, as a businessman, when you at the top, you have a responsibility, you got a duty. And I'm never going to fold on that duty. And when I see guys in my area doing a hell of a job at doing that, putting together combines and inviting scouts, a league commissioner, not a team, not a coach, a league commissioner putting together combines for his players and inviting NFL and college scouts so that his players get an opportunity. When I see that happening, and that's only 2 hours away, and it's not happening right here, I got a problem. I got a problem, and I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to expose it, and I'm going to communicate it to the guys who would benefit from it the most. So hopefully they understand and they can start to communicate, because somebody needs to make these guys step up. Either step up or step down. Let's put it that way. What you're not going to do is you're not going to get on Facebook and throw paint on everything that don't agree with you.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Appreciate you. And Daryl, I appreciate you. Love you, Daryl. Thank you for tuning into the show, man. But look, that's it, man. That's what we're going to talk about. Next week, we're going to do the Black Room. I was supposed to have Jim Harmon. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start having a backup. And I feel bad. I don't want to tell a guy, listen, I'm going to give you an exclusive interview on my show, put you on YouTube and all of this, but you're the backup. You're the second option.
Oh, hey.
But it's a sad day when you invite a guy to represent an entire league and probably give some exposure to all the teams and players, and then he doesn't show up. So definitely got to figure it out. But listen, next week, definitely going to do an interview, going to find somebody who's worthy of talking to. I definitely want to talk to like the LAL and the GDFL, see if we can get some representation from those leagues. Once we get through like all the head honchos, maybe we can start branching down to some of like the coaches and some of the team owners and things like that. I'm still trying to find time to get the Long Island Eagles owner, the guy who actually started the program. I've been in communication with him, trying to get him on so that he can explain what it's like to be the type of owner that puts together a product that's successful from the very beginning. It comes out high octane, and 4 years later, 5 years later, it's still high octane. 28 and 0, I think now, with 3 league championships and I think 2 national championship appearances. I think they got 1 national championship ring and 1 national championship loss. So came out the gate hot and never let off the gas pedal. And they do everything the right way. So definitely want to get guys like that on the show.
100%.
Oh, shoot. Gonna get my old coach on here. Daryl, I'm definitely gonna hit you up. We're gonna talk about that. It'd be awesome if we could also get maybe the founder to come on with you and probably do like, me and Mike, you and the founder, and have a nice conversation, because the LAL built something nice this year. We're going straight from the den, that level, to the LAL, like no drop off there. So that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be dope. But listen, 3 hours again. Listen, it was a worthy 3 hours. We talked about a lot. It's the kickoff of the ECFL. So last week was the closure. Definitely. I appreciate you, Darryl. Last week was the closure, getting to the closure of the spring. This week is getting into the opening of the ECFL. We're definitely going to cut the time of the shows back down. I need to find time to cut the video up so that I can maybe 2 or 3 parts of last week. I'll get that out on YouTube. This one, I'm definitely going to cut up into 2 parts, probably an hour and a half each, and then put that on YouTube so guys can go back and watch it. It's always available for replay on Facebook. But appreciate y'all for coming out tonight, Mike.
Yep.
Always a pleasure hanging out and talking to you, man. You gonna be at the game tomorrow?
I can't make it tomorrow, but I'm gonna go to the next ones.
No problem, man. I'll call you and let you know how I felt about it.
I mean, if it's streamed, I'll watch it.
It's not being streamed. I'm upset about that.
Yeah.
Whatever. Right. whatever. Listen, appreciate everybody for tuning in tonight, and we're gonna let y'all reclaim the rest of y'all night. So appreciate everybody. See you at the 50.
Yeah. Good luck, everybody, tomorrow.
All right, man. Take care.